Hey, if you're in the chat, let me know. Say hi, say hi. Hey guys, if you're in the chat, let me know. Say hi. How's your night going? Can you guys hear me? Thanks, Daniel. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. That means a lot to me. You know, I do this for as I often repeat, I don't want to do this because I'm really putting myself in, in harm's way if you think about it. Um, in more harm's way than I already am. But I do this for people who are going through the same thing I'm going through. So, of course, it means a lot to me that you appreciate it. Uh, I don't know what that means. Not teal. I'm sorry. I don't know what that means. But yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot. And I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I didn't. Thanks. I'm glad you can hear me. Good, good. Uh, High water. I don't know. I don't know what that means. Oh, war against narcissism. Sorry about that. Hi. How are you doing? Um, Chandelier crescendo. Okay. Can you guys can hear me clearly? Good, good. Basically, what I just want to share with you guys. I'm about to record a video. I just want to share it with you guys. I wrote down pretty much all of it. It's organized harassment tactics part 7. Hi, Jody. Organized harassment tactics part 7. Basically, I changed my videos titles from gang stalking tactics to organized harassment tactics so that I can post them on TikTok because gang stalking is banned, a banned word. It's really shadow banned. If you post a video on gang stalking, your video will be deleted immediately. You will be banned from TikTok, and you know you will be banned from TikTok, and they won't tell you why. They'll just ban you. So that's why I changed my titles from gang stalking to organized harassment. Um, it's really funny how how quickly perps end up in my chat just to kind of like spam the same comments over and over. Anyways, Lemon Lun sings it. I don't I don't know if that's your name, but that's what I hope I'm saying it right. But yeah, if you guys are interested in hearing basically basically what I'm going to talk about in my next YouTube video, which is titled Organized Harassment Tactics Part 7. This one is about to be about noise campaigns and street theater. If you guys want to hear about it, just let me know. Say it one more time again, please. No thanks. I said it once. You got it. Would you consider yourself? A nerd? Do I consider myself a nerd? I don't know. I don't know what a nerd is. I'm. I don't know. When I was a kid, a nerd was like a short, skinny guy with glasses. I'm not short. I'm not skinny. I'm like 200 pounds. Pretty heavy, you know. Um, no, I would not consider myself a nerd. I guess that would be my answer to your question. Come on, you got to see it. It's worth a shot. Jody, see what? Please, it's on my posts. I'm not sure what you're talking about. What's up, Isaiah? My day's been pretty good, actually. You know, it's been pretty good. Most of it was spent with my wife. A day with my wife is always great. Love my wife. How was your day? Daily scripture for daily peace. I pray everyone and their family are all at peace. Amen. Hey, amen. I love that. What scripture would you recommend for the day? Thank you, Terry. I will. I have to. Like I said, I have to, you know. I wouldn't feel right if I didn't. So I will. How's it going? I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good today, you know. I feel good. How are you? How are you guys doing? I'm gonna wait till we're about maybe 15 or 20, and then I'll just read you the video. I feel pretty proud of this one. It's yeah, Psalm 91 is actually my favorite too. Uh, very good. It's a very good one. I mean, pretty much anything that David wrote about was, you know, relates a lot to our experience because he lived the same thing. But yeah, I really like Psalm 91. Sorry. Oh, which my peace I give unto you, and not a storm. John 14:27. Amen. I like it. Sorry about that. I'm about to start my job tomorrow morning, but I already know they're going to try to fearmonger me. Well, you know, I feel like that's half the battle. Half the battle is knowing what you're up against, knowing that at any moment, you know, your surroundings can switch up on you. And if you're aware that it might happen, that it's probably more than likely going to happen, then it's no longer shocking. The only thing that I would say is, you know, just don't over anticipate it in the sense of, you know, don't look for it too much. When it shows up, you know, be aware of it, but until it shows up, just be you. Just do your thing, you know. Um, Good luck with your job. I hope everything goes well. I pray for that for you. The awareness you bring is appreciated. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate you being here. Truly, it means a lot to me. Uh, so thank you. Isaiah, I'm glad to hear you're doing pretty good, man. It's true. We're alive. Isn't that a blessing? Isn't that a blessing? We're alive. We're alive. Uh, Beyond Annette, I am familiar with Stephanie the Seeker. I really like her page. I like her videos. I like how she structures them. I like that she's spiritual. Um, yeah, I have nothing negative to say about her at all. I think she's great. And I watch her I haven't been watching her videos lately, but I've watched a lot of her videos. So yeah. Yeah. Amen. Amen. Yeah, I love you too, man. Thanks for being here. Nonito, doing fine today. Hey, happy birthday, man. Happy birthday. I hope your day is blessed. Okay. Psalms 23 is up there with Psalms 91. Yeah, Psalms 23, Psalms 23, I believe 43 as well, and 91. I really enjoy. Um, yeah, I mean, it's all a game. It's all a game. Don't worry about it too much. Exe Sashi or Sha Sashi. Sorry if I said that wrong. Don't worry about it too much. Ride your high. When you're low, ride your lows and get back up. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings to you as well. I do have a like-minded wife. My wife is amazing. I love her very much. Yeah, Stephanie's great. Stephanie's really great. The Hiding Place by Paul Sandberg. Leave that in my notes. The Hiding Place. Paul. Thanks for that. I'll check that later. Appreciate you. Hi from me. Well, hello to you in India. Okay. Do you mind telling your age? Irrelevant. Look at me. Guess. I don't know. I appreciate you too, eh? Thank you for being here. Do you like India? I've never been to India. I don't have any negative or positive opinions about India. I honestly, I really should know more about India. I don't know. I don't think I know much about India, honestly. What do I know about India? Is the Taj Mahal there? Yeah, another troll. Sorry about that. You know, it's funny you should mention that curry from India. I don't like curry. I strongly dislike curry. I like butter chicken. I guess that's Indian. But I don't like curry. I know Jamaicans eat curry goat. I love goat. Don't like curry goat. If your presence is detected anywhere near College Park, Pennsylvania. Okay. Uh, I'm Canadian, man. So we got 15 people in the chat. Appreciate you guys. Um, Whenever you guys want me to read what I wrote down, I'm pretty proud of the structure of the next video I'm going to film. Like I said, it's organized harassment tactics or gang stalking tactics, part 7, and yeah, it's about noise campaigns and street theater. So whenever you guys want me to start, let me know. I feel like 15 people is enough to start. And his chosen she can be found at Ephesians 1 for King James Version. According as he hath chosen us in him before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and without blame before him in love. Amen. Let me read that again. According as he hath chosen us in him before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and without blame before him in love. Name 5 books. I mean, it's an interesting question. I mean, of course I could, but I'm going to block you instead. So if you guys are interested, just let me know. Let me know if you guys are interested in hearing the next video. I'm going to to record. I'm actually going to record it in a few minutes, so just let me know. Hey, V Sportivo. I appreciate you. Thanks for subbing. So, well, if I'm near Edmonton right now, where are you at or near? Edmonton, damn. I'm near Montreal, Canada. So we're pretty far from each other, but we're in the same country. I don't know why people make these comments about my beard, you know? I'm not usually when perps make comments, it's like things that you're, insecure about, I guess. Like these are the gang stalking tactics, but I'm not insecure about my beard. Well, I'm just saying the Most High will make the solutions easy. Amen. Hey Jack Wee, how are you? Thanks for being here. They talk as if the beard is weird. It's nice. Thank you. I appreciate it. Right? It's just like, yeah, I have a salt and pepper beard. You know, the last time I went to a family reunion, it had been a long time since I had went, and the last time I went there, everybody was making comments about, my salt and pepper beard and how it looks nice and it makes me look wise. You know, I'm just like, this is just genetics. Like I'm looking at them like your kids are going to have the same thing. So this is a gift from my grandfathers. Thanks. I like my glasses too. My day is going pretty great. Hope yours is too. Pray that you and your loved ones have a blissful evening and a safe and warm rest of the winter. Thank you. Much appreciated. I pray for the same thing for you and your loved ones as well. Thank you. They hate just to hate. I mean, it's just they're just sent to like kind of chip at you and try to get a reaction out of you. You know. Um, I don't really pay too much attention. You know, it's kind of like a game of whack-a-mole. Every time I get on a live, they just pop up, they show up, and I just block them for 24 hours because I can't exactly block them completely, but I block them for 24 hours, and then I don't have that issue anymore with them. Usually they'll come back later on in the live, but it is what it is. How bad is the harassment? Has it subsided some? No, actually. It used to be pretty much only online. But lately I've been followed. I've been hit with direct energy weapons while driving about 3 times. Um, I've been getting followed by cars. I've been getting followed in stores. You know, the norm. What pretty much everybody else is going through. I used to not. I've also noticed that whenever I'm with my wife, I don't notice anything. But as soon as I'm alone, they'll follow me. Or if I'm with my wife and she just goes to the bathroom, um, you know, people will start to do weird stuff around me. And as soon as she shows up, they just get away. So it's pretty much, they're trying to, I guess their plan is like to make it so my wife can't see anything so that she'll stop believing me. But the truth is, my wife is never going to stop believing me because I have audio proof of my friends talking about plotting against me. And, she heard it. Like she heard the same people that had invited us over for supper to their home talking about how they're going to destroy my name, talking about how they're trying to recruit my other friends, with them in order to destroy my reputation. So, there's really nothing you can do at this point to make my wife not believe me because these people invited us over to their house for supper. And then, maybe a few weeks later, my friend who they tried to recruit but failed sent me all the audios that they sent her and all the messages that they sent her talking about, things in my personal life that they should never know, like I had a debt that wasn't paid with well, with someone that I pay services to. It wasn't paid yet. And they had told me, look, I can't do more until this is paid. And I just told them, okay, I'll pay it, and I did. Um, but they were talking about that, like, oh, he's been refused services because he's not paying people, which is like something I would never do, like not pay someone for services. That's like super out of my character, but just because I was late for payment in one situation, they just figured, we're gonna jump on that and use that to destroy his name. And by the time this actually got back to me, I was like, this not only have I paid this, but I've went back to this person like 3, 4 times for more services and also paid them. So, they're just trying to destroy, my reputation, trying to destroy my relationships, things of that nature. So, to answer your question, it's not subsiding. It is very much getting worse. So, it is what it is. I expect it to be that way. Um, uh, well, Ketona, I don't know what you came to do, but do what you do. Just know that, I block people. Whatever you want. I believe Judgment Day is a little different than how described in the Bible. In our specific realities, Judgment Day for the gang stalkers is the moment you evolve and not stoop low to their level. Uh, that's one way to see it. I don't really think much about it. I just know that you do wrong, it's not going to be good for you. You do right, it's going to be good for you. So, good evening, Sociometric. I'm glad you're here. Does your wife believe you? Yeah, she does. She believes me. By destroying your name, do you mean they were trying to get you to a health professional or something? Yeah, my family has been, talking about trying to get me to a mental health professional, but it's really more destroying my professional relationships because I'm self-employed, so I have relationships with businesses and stuff like that. So they're trying to destroy that. They're trying to destroy they're trying to destroy my friendships. They've destroyed a lot of them already. They're trying to destroy my family relationships. A lot of my cousins, uncles have completely turned on me as well. So hey, it is what it is. At this point, I just kind of understand that it's gonna happen. And more of them are going to switch, and you know I'm going to act accordingly. That's it. Whenever I feel like someone is, in my language, it's called, well, in English as well, you say playing in my face, and just like, gaslighting you, abusing you and then pretending like they didn't, making allusions to things about your personal life or about things that you've been sensitized to, um, and then pretend like they didn't. Anytime someone tells me sentences such as, I never said that, that didn't happen, that's in your head, things like that, I'm just like, all right, I heard what I heard. I'm not, I'm not discussing with you what reality is, like there's no, there's no two truths. There is only one truth. There's only one truth. There's what happened, what didn't happen. If I bring up something you said that I relate to or organized harassment tactics, and then you tell me I never said that, I'm just automatically like, oh, go fuck yourself. you know? My native language is Creole. I'm Haitian. And my second language is, well, my first language is French because I live in French Canada. My second language is Creole. And the third language that I learned is English. I'm trying to learn Spanish. My wife speaks Spanish. They take information that's not isolated to TIs and act as if it's also horrible. Yeah, I mean, they just, it's all about like private stuff. They take like your private life and then try to destroy you with it. Like, I don't know if, let's say you discipline your kids. I don't have children, but let's say you discipline your kids in order to discipline your kids, you might, I don't know, smack them on the butt or whatever, they'll just like say like you beat your kids, which is like horrible when you say it like that. You beat your kids. But of course they're not gonna say like, oh, he smacked his kid on the butt for misbehaving. It's gonna be like, oh, he's like a dangerous alcoholic, and he beats his kids or whatever. And it is what it is. Hey, a new old Creole dude in jail. That motherfucker was crazy. Yeah, I mean Creole is complicated because there's many different Creole. Like, Tudor is saying that they're from Suriname, and they know Creole language, but the Creole I know is Haitian Creole. So there's Haitian Creole, Creole from Martinique, Creole from Mauritius. There are many different Creoles, and of course these different Creoles I can understand. I mean, unless you're like from Cabo Verde or something like that, I won't understand what you're saying because it's a Portuguese Creole, but I can understand any Creole that resembles French, or Haitian Creole. But yeah, I'm not sure that I know what Suriname Creole sounds like, but I do speak and understand Creole. I'm collecting birthday wishes from all over the world for a dear friend of mine. Well, happy birthday to your friend. He had gold irises. That's interesting. I thought you were a surgeon. Okay, strike one. Thanks. I do remember you. He definitely sounded French sometimes. Yeah, I mean Haitian people speak French. They speak French unless like they go to USA and they're born in USA. Usually, what'll happen is they'll speak English and they'll lose the. I'm not American. I'm Canadian. They'll lose their French and they'll lose their Creole as well because the language of Creole resembles French a lot, but it doesn't resemble English so much. So once you speak French, once you start to speak English, you lose your French, and by way of losing your French, you lose your Creole. So a lot of American Haitians, at least the younger ones, they don't actually speak Creole. They've never learned, and they lose it in the States, or they speak it, but it's like it's really bad. Like there's a really bad accent to it. Anyways, um, yeah, thanks. If you guys are not subscribed, please subscribe. Um, Hey, if I get three people telling me to start reading off the video that I'm going to record, Organized Harassment Tactics Part 7, Gang Stalking Tactics Part 7, Noise Campaigns and Street Theater, I'll start. So I need three. Let me know. Are you more on the side of this being spiritual or technology mind control driven, or a bit of both? Technology, technology mind control. I mean, a bit of both, a bit of both. I think that it's definitely technology, but it's narcissistic abuse. And narcissism is really just a word. It's a scientific word for evil. So I think it's evil. I think it's just evil at work. Um, I wouldn't say that like it's strictly um how can I put this? I wouldn't say that it's strictly spiritual, but you know, I think the spiritual is involved and the technological is involved. So yeah, pretty in the same situation. You don't know if they can mind control your parents. Yeah, I would say it seems that way. It does seem that way when you're dealing with family and your family has turned their backs on you, and they start to abuse you. The people that love you, the people that you love, the people that you have history with, the people that you've gone through so many things with, that you've spent so much time with, turn on you and begin to abuse you, and they're all doing it covertly, and you know it just seems like, well, are these people brainwashed? What's going on? Like, how can you not? How can someone contact you, get in contact with you, and convince you to turn on me? And I can understand if, like, for example, you're mad at me, right? You're mad at me and you don't want to talk to me anymore. I get that because I've done that to people. But and I didn't give him any explanation. But to turn around and then pretend like you're not mad but abuse me covertly is just like, are you brainwashed? What's happening here? President Trump named January Stalking Awareness Month. Did he? I didn't know. I didn't know that. It can't be just evil unless this is a recycled ancient program of synthetic grown raised clones. They must be programs so under command, so cold, so strategic in nature. I don't know. I don't know. You know, when it comes to conspiracy theories, the ones I believe in, I believe in. The ones I don't believe in, I just figure, hey, give it enough time, I'll believe in it. So I don't necessarily believe in what you're saying right now, but hey, give me time. 4 months ago, I didn't believe in V2K and DEWs, and I do now. So, like wholeheartedly, by the way, not just like I think it might be real. No, I was hit with DEWs, with directed energy weapons myself. So I definitely believe it. The devil was a narcissist, 100%. Lucifer was a narcissist. One of the I was watching a video about how Lucifer caused his own fall from grace with God, and one of the sentence that he said to the other angels when they were trying to convince him to just apologize to God and stop what you're doing, stop rebelling, right? Is I didn't do anything wrong. And anytime I hear I didn't do anything wrong, that's like a narcissist bread and butter. They love saying that. Do I like Trump? I don't know. I don't like Trump. I don't like Biden. I don't like Kamala. I don't like Clinton. I don't like Obama. I don't like any of these people. No, I don't. Um, I wanted Bernie. For you guys because I'm Canadian. I make no mistakes. Could care less. I'm Canadian. I'm not American. But for you guys, who I wanted was Bernie. He marched with Martin Luther King. You ain't gotta like any of them, but can you pick a lesser of the evils? Oh man, that's such a great question. And really, like, I hope you're listening to me. No, no, that's not how that works. This whole brain warp that like politics have put into your mind that you have to pick one of the lesser evils. Absolutely not. I don't want neither of the evils. If you are evil, you don't get my vote. So absolutely not. The last book I read was called um man, I can't remember. Uh, uh, the last book I read was The Human Magnet Syndrome by Dr. Ross Rosenberg. That was the last book I read. It's a great book. A lot of imposters march with Martin Luther King. Sure. I mean, Bernie Sanders could be an imposter for all I know. But that's who I wanted for you. But yeah, I think it's important to think to yourself. If I'm picking from one of the lesser evils, if I'm picking from two people or one side or the other, and I'm going with the lesser evil, then perhaps this whole system needs to be changed. And until a total regime change, there we go. You're smart, Sherry. I think it's the moral choice to choose the lesser of the evils. One will end up in power regardless of your inaction. I disagree. I disagree. And I think it's a legit opinion that you have. I just disagree. I think if your system demands that you pick from two options that are evil, but one is lesser, then the system is wrong, and you should just focus on regime change and nothing else. I'm not participating in the system if the system demands that I choose from the lesser of two evils. That's just like, you know, I don't want to I don't want to sound disrespectful to you. I just think that if I'm choosing from the lesser of two evils, if the system demands that I choose from the lesser of two evils, then the system is bad, and I don't want to participate in a bad system. And I think that if everybody thought that way, which I do believe is the right way to think about it, then you would have regime change immediately. If no one votes, because we're just like, both of you are horrible choices. We don't want you. You know, somebody would, somebody would rise to power immediately that would be not corrupt and that would, be for the people and actually do what the people want, you know, instead of, well, at least this person is going to do this or this person is going to do that because they're the lesser of two evils. And if they're evil, they're lying to you anyways. So, and it's 4 a.m. here. So it's late. Well, it's early. I think Billy Graham and MLK preached together. I don't know who Billy Graham is. Sorry. G'day, mate, from Australia. Hi, Julie. I have a good book. Yeah, let's see. What is this? Gloria Naylor. Oh, hey. I'm gonna read that. Thanks for the reference. A novel by the author of The Woman of Brewster Place, Gloria Naylor, 1996, based on her real life experience as a targeted individual of government surveillance, subjected to no touch and invisible tortures, remote neural monitoring, microwave hearing. Damn. Thanks. I appreciate you, Dennis. I appreciate that. I'm gonna read that. Hey, that's crazy. Let me see. Gloria Naylor. She passed away in 2016. Oh, that's too bad. In the Virgin Islands? What was you doing there? Dang. I'm sorry to hear about your father. My condolences. With this stuff every day, I can go everywhere, but still I'm isolated because before this stuff happened, I was already living like that. Yeah, well, it will isolate you for sure. Yeah. Okay. So I have one person that's asking me to read off my notes of the video that I'm going to record later on. So that's two. Um, can you teach me English? No, I can't. Good morning from Germany. Guten Tag. What are we talking about? We're always talking about the same thing pretty much. Organized harassment, gang stalking, organized crime. You know. Is that a armed and dangerous? Somebody's quoting Biggie Smalls here. I have a topic. What topic is that? Hey, if you're talking about my age or my beard, I'm going to block you. I'm just letting you know. Do with that what you will. Gang stalking versus civil repressions. I think gang stalking is civil repression, you know? Of course I knew it was Biggie. What? That's a classic. It's notorious thugs. Armed and dangerous. Ain't too many can bang with us. Straight up, we know angel dust. Label us notorious. Thug ass niggas, I love the bus. It's a classic. Anybody want me to start reading my notes? I'm just waiting for one more person to to say that they're ready to hear what I have to say about organized harassment tactics part 7. All right, we got a third one. All right, so this is, you know, these are my notes. Let me just make my notes bigger so I can actually read them. Oh, now I have that song in my head. Thanks a lot, buddy. So organized harassment tactics part 7, noise campaigns and street theater. The first sentence is pretty long. You know. Anyways, when it comes to organized harassment, the goal is to wage psychological warfare against the target in order to demoralize, destabilize, and mentally crush them. Obviously, we can agree on that. In order to do that, noise campaigns and street theater, such as being followed, having cars parked directly behind you wherever you go, and then sitting there and idling until you get back and leave, excessive coughing or sniffling, flashing lights, high beams, tailgating, lollygagging, police and EMTs and fire trucks turning on their sirens and lights while passing you and immediately turning them off right after, honking or making loud noises to hinder you from sleeping in your home. Some even report that when they try to rent a hotel or a motel room to escape this, or during travel, even their harassers will go as far as to rent the room next to or above them to continue this noise campaign, or even people mentioning something about your private life in conversation with you or within your earshot. Um, these are methods that are often utilized to sensitize the target to the fact that they're being spied on, followed in order to make them feel unwelcomed, unsafe, plotted against, and also make them realize that they are being watched at all times, because these tactics could only be applied so successfully if they were under surveillance 24/7, which they are. This feeling of never being alone is distressing because it seeps into all moments of one's life. For example, going to the bathroom and doom scrolling used to be a relaxing moment, but now the idea that you are being watched in that intimate place puts a damper on any ability to relax, as you are always hyper aware that you are being watched by your enemies. This same feeling will, of course, rear its head in all intimate moments, affecting them greatly and chipping away at one's ability to appreciate these moments. So, what can you do against these organized harassment tactics, right? Because it's important to stay safe and to, you know, understand that you have an enemy that is not only plotting against you but organizing against you, and you need to defend yourself and arm yourself as best as you can. So, to begin, it is very important to learn to not react emotionally to these tactics. The ultimate goal is to make you crash out so that authorities can hop in and participate in your abuse through the legal system. Additionally, it will be very important to document all events of noise campaigns and street theater. Uh, and that's not a bad idea, actually. And street theater that you can, and this is for a couple of reasons. Number one day may come when this organized crime will be prosecutable. Again, one day may come where this organized crime will be prosecutable. In a court of law, what you say has very little worth compared to what you can prove. With no evidence, you cannot prove anything. Number two, these organized harassment tactics are very covert and hold plausible deniability. However, meaning that they can all be written off as coincidences, right? Or it can be written off as just, you're losing it. However, with enough evidence, you can begin to display a pattern of behavior instead of just showing a behavior. And then that will, at the very least, raise an eyebrow and make people think twice about calling your experience a simple coincidence or paranoia. Number three, you're not alone. Thousands, if not tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not within a million, right, of people worldwide are going through the exact same experience you're going through. If one person shows up within the evidence of more than two or three victims, again, if you film or take pictures of your abusers and this person who is hired by the government to harass others shows up in your evidence and the evidence of another TI and another TI, and now it's three of you guys saying that this person is stalking, this person is harassing, this person is participating in a crime of organized harassment. This person opens themselves up to being investigated, which could lead to a very significant win for you. There is power in numbers, and if many people gather evidence, pieces of evidence against the same person, whether it be, um, consciously, subconsciously, whether it be, something that is done by accident, it just so happens that this person stalked two people that were documenting him, you know, this could be a significant win, right? Sorry about that one, just 1 second. Um, However, it is important to not be stupid and make sure you obey the law at all times, right? Now, obeying the law and obeying policies are two different things. Filming in a public place is always allowed, no matter what their policy might say, right? Um, if you're in a public place, filming is on the table, period. If they tell you you can't film here, but the place is legally deemed public, meaning, you go to, I don't know, the DMV, you are, you know, on a sidewalk, right? You're just outside, you're in front of your home, right? No one can tell you not to film. It doesn't matter. Even if you're filming the inside of someone's car, if you're on the street, you're allowed. It's a public place. However, filming in a private business may be prohibited, so you're going to want to obey their policies or just leave, especially if they come tell you in person. Now, if I'm in a private business and I feel like someone is participating in organized harassment against me, I'm more than likely going to film them, right? However, if someone comes and tells me, "Hey, this is a private business, stop filming," or comes and tells me, "Just you're filming, leave," right? Obey the law, right? Now, if someone comes to you and tells you to leave, you don't necessarily have to leave unless it depends which state you're in or which province you're in. But in most states and most provinces, you don't really have to leave because they're telling you to leave. But once the police tells you to leave, you gotta go, right? Um, so, if they come tell you in person, I would definitely suggest, get the evidence that you can and just leave. Technically, it is about narcissism. I'll get to that, Julie. Just 1 second. So if they tell you to leave, just leave. Don't break the law, right? Filming while you're driving is against the law, right? I am legally binded to tell you that you should not do that. Okay. Lastly, make sure you keep copies of your evidence. The cloud can always be accessed and deleted by your hackers, and your home can be invaded in your absence, right? So if you're serious about getting justice one day, like I am, keep copies as much as you can and in multiple ways, in multiple places. If you're going to be a target, make yourself a hard target and make sure you stay safe. That's pretty much it. Should I add anything? Should I remove anything? Any thoughts? To answer your question, Julie, um, gang stalking is organized harassment, and the tactics that they use are narcissistic abuse tactics, basically. Um, Obviously, stalking people following you, that's all narcissistic abuse. All stalkers, 100% of stalkers are narcissists. Dennis Allen, hello. I'm sorry. I answered your question. One sounds delusional versus one grounded history. Uh, what do you mean, Dennis? I'm not sure what you mean. Thank you very much, Annette. I'm glad you Annette, sorry. Annette is in French. Annette, I appreciate it. I'm glad you like it. Like I said, if you have any ideas for what I should add to this. I'm really open to hearing it. Thank you, Sociometric. Yeah, man, I hope so. I know it's like it's an awkward time. You know, people are about to wake up in a few hours. You know, I'm up right now. Civil repressions has historical information. So you're saying that the difference between gang stalking and civil repressions? And gang stalking is civil repressions. You know, it's the only difference would be that gang stalking is what's happening now, which is not in history books yet. But if you look at Zersetzung in East Germany in the 40s, in the late 40s, it's gang stalking. It's the same thing, you know? It was civil repression. So the difference between civil repression and gang stalking is that civil repression is in the books. Gang stalking is what they call it now. So, but I do agree with you. It's hard for people to believe a group following you around when you say gang stalking, which is why I've decided to switch from gang stalking, the term gang stalking, to organized harassment because a lot of people are aware of what organized harassment is. They have examples of it, like Zersetzung or COINTELPRO, and they have examples that the government did, like Zersetzung and COINTELPRO, right? So I do agree. I think that it's important to call it organized harassment. I think I'm gonna keep writing the word gang stalking and like my titles and stuff like that, my descriptions of my videos, but I don't think I'm gonna keep using the word gang stalking. Not because I don't think it's like a good word, because I think it pretty much describes describes it pretty well, and it's a catchy word, I guess, like a clickbaity word, and it's all about getting eyes on you, you know. But you know, when it comes to raising awareness, but you're right. Organized harassment makes you sound less like a paranoid schizophrenic person, which this program is meant to make you look like, by the way. Like that's what it's about. You know, whenever they use these tactics, they also program inside of it the the goal that if you were to speak about how you're being abused, people will turn their backs to you. They'll just be like, this person is unstable. I don't want to talk to them anymore. You know, it's in order to further isolate you. So yeah. Yeah, John, for people tackle this because I came to that point. Thank you very much, Tutor. You know, I try to be as concise and I guess stoic, concise and stoic about sharing information. I used to share a lot of personal things that are happening to me, and my cousin told me that this is not going to be helpful to your cause. You know, if you just share information about what's happening to people rather than your personal stories and your personal opinion, people will take you more seriously, and you know they'll stop thinking you're just like some crazy person who's having an episode of psychosis or something like that. And I agree. I agree. I think that when I experience people talking about their personal stuff, I feel a lot of empathy for them, but it's mostly because I went through what they went through, you know. If I heard someone speak about this kind of experience without having lived it myself, I would just be like, it would make me uncomfortable. It would, you know, it would shatter my idea of it would threaten to shatter my idea of what reality is to me, which is the world is a safe place relatively, and the government can be trusted relatively. Um, but once you accept that organized harassment, also known as gang stalking, is real, then you start to realize, the world is not a safe place relatively, and the government is not your friend at all. It's just a cesspool of corruption and narcissism. Pray, read the word fast. It will build strength, maintain joy and peace. Absolutely. Absolutely. They didn't call it gang stalking. That's true. That's true. We live in different countries, but for my country, I have a lot of info and documents. Hey, share with the rest of the class, Tutor. Every day is a good day, even with trouble. Do you know why? Because Jesus is the living word. Much love, y'all. Be blessed. Amen. Amen. This platform has an option to go live as a collaboration. I believe this can be a great movement. Your thoughts? Yeah, I mean, I don't think I would want to go live with anyone that I don't know because of all the perps that are in my chat. I don't want someone to end up in my chat, in my live saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing or displaying the wrong thing. So that's not gonna happen. But I'm going to start interviewing people. I'm gonna start doing podcasts with people. I've actually done a podcast. Well, not a podcast, but an interview with Doctor De Facto a couple of days ago. But it was him interviewing me. I would like to interview people. I I'm going to start interviewing people. Um, I have one person already in the works right now, and I have another another two that I'm trying to convince or that I'm waiting on. This platform makes you sound delusional. Yeah, talking about gang stalking makes you sound delusional. We should be careful about who we tell our experiences to and how much we reveal as well. Yeah, I don't talk to anybody about gang stalking unless they believe in gang stalking. If you don't believe in it, I'm not talking about it to you. I'm not interested. These gang stalkers must feel so important or interesting. Yeah, I mean it's narcissistic abuse, and for a narcissist, seeing your reaction is what makes them feel important, which is why it's so important not to react to it. And once you understand it, really, it's hard to react to it because you just go, what do I? This is not about me. This has nothing to do with me. If I wasn't here, this person would do this same thing to somebody else. So you just stop taking it personal, and at that point, it's hard to react. I have nothing to react. I have no reaction to this. I just kind of look at you like, that's pathetic. Okay, have a good day. It should happen to you to believe it. I think Dennis is a TI as well. With other established TIs, like I said, I wouldn't do a live even with other established TIs, but I am going to interview other TIs so that we can talk about our experiences, raise awareness, and build a community. I think you did not check my channel regarding what you said about the world being a safe place, but I see a lot of consciousness of spiritual people or people being in tune with nature. I have not checked your channel actually. Should I? Do you post stuff on there? I hope I can find you. Okay, yes, so I see you have a lot of playlists. But yeah, when it comes to like spiritual advancement and stuff like that, I don't really get into that. I just, read the Bible more than anything. Stephanie the Seeker, I like her a lot. Bahamut, I actually follow Bahamut a lot. He's been going through a hard time lately in Pittsburgh. Gang stalking simulation, just to mention a few. I don't know gang stalking simulation though. I don't know who that is. But I do follow Bahamut, and yeah. Praise the Lord, amen. Praise him. Either hi John Removals. Nice to see you again. I normally don't wish gang stalking on anyone. What is starting to drive me crazy when I see them call us delusional when we're living in hell 24/7 days a week for years. I used to have a lot of empathy for people who participate in organized harassment. To put it gently, I don't anymore. I'm not gonna tell you what I wish for them, but I don't have empathy for them anymore. Hey man, I look forward to it as well. Like I said, I'm doing an interview tomorrow. I don't know if I think she wants to interview me, but it's a TI who actually lives in my city. I found her on Tik. I posted a video on TikTok. On my page on TikTok is also called The War Against Narcissism, and it got I think I'm at like 33,000 views. Crazy. It's Organized Harassment Tactics Part 6, and I have like 300 comments. It's nuts. People are like really sharing it and posting it in their stories and stuff. And I got all these people talking about it's happening to them as well. This guy, Chef Doug. I don't know if you guys know who Chef Doug is. He was on TV. He's actually a victim of organized harassment as well, gang stalking, and he just shared it like maybe an hour ago. He shared my video an hour ago. So yeah, it got a lot of traction, and then this person who lives in my city who's also TI messaged me, or I think I messaged them actually because I was hearing a French accent in her English, and then I saw a poster of famous spot in Montreal like on her wall, and I was just like, "Are you here?" And I messaged her, and she's like 30 minutes away. Most of the platforms aren't real, controlled opposition. I don't know about that. I haven't seen any. I haven't seen any platforms that I would say you're fake. You know. Um, yeah. I'm going to start a channel. I believe I can help others not feel consumed and isolated. Annette, do it today. You got this. It is about conspiracy old videos. I didn't see that. Peace and love, my brother. Until next time. Hey, see you next time, brother. I want to make contact with you with respect to your personal time. Well, you can contact me on TikTok, IG, or Facebook. I don't do email. I don't do phone numbers. So, just contact me on IG, TikTok, or Facebook. The name is the same. It's the War Against Narcissism everywhere. So, let me know. Are you good enough for heaven? Ever lied or stolen before? Ever lusted or hated anyone before? Uh, Going to heaven. That's not how going to heaven works. Going to heaven, you know, is not about whether or not you've sinned. No, none of us are sinless, so I don't know why you would ask that. This shows me that you're not a Christian, or that you're not an informed Christian at the very least, or maybe you're not Christian at all. Who knows? Hey, the word is spreading. Yeah, yeah, it is. Aloha, aloha. Happy New Year, Kahuna Mahuna. Nice to see you again. Remove mentor. I don't know what they wrote, but the message has been retracted. So we broke God's law, but Jesus Christ paid our fine. All right. Well, it seems that you're a Christian. If you're a Christian, then you would know that lying, stealing, lusting, hating does not stop you from going to heaven. What stops you from going to heaven is um, there are certain things that would hinder you from going to heaven. One of them would be being unrepenting in your sin, so not repenting, um, not not accepting Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. That would be one of them, you know. So I'm not worried about not going to heaven because I've sinned. Yeah, I mean, God was not exactly merciful in the Old Testament. God was not merciful in the First Testament. He became merciful in the New Testament. Indeed, I agree. You ever heard of religious stalkers often found in hick towns and try to pick on people they think aren't godly enough, but they behave like demons? No. I'm not nowhere near a hick town. I live near Montreal, so I've never seen that, but I have heard of, you know, hick towns being part of organized harassment within church. I have a friend who speaks I have a friend who speaks against organized harassment. She's in the UK, and she said that the last time she went to church, she was being gang stalked. So I do know that religious people will do that, and I think that a lot of people who are experiencing gang stalking will talk about going to church in order to find community and or to find some kind of peace. And I always tell them, when it comes to religious leaders, most of them are not good people. I mean, any position of power, you can expect that person, any person within a position of power has fought to get there, and Any person that fights to get a position of power usually has will score highly in narcissism, and narcissism is just the scientific word for evil. So, a lot of times you'll hear of pastors doing things that they shouldn't. Um, it's I just don't think that if you're looking for, community and understanding and not being judged, church is not the place to go at all. It's one of the worst places you can go. Now, I don't know about, I'm talking about, Christian church. I don't know when it comes to like a mosque or something like that, but you know, I think people are people and people are corruptible, unfortunately, you know. Um, yeah. I have a question. What is your opinion on people who try to bank on religion to save them while committing crimes? Everyone says God saves everyone, but is that an excuse to do whatever you want? That's a great question, actually. Um, I think I think it all depends, like what crimes are we talking about? You know, I I'm not, obviously I'm not God, right? Um, if a man steals bread to feed his family because he can't find a job, he's, going through a hard time, I can understand that, you know? Um, if a man sells drugs to feed his family, it's a bit different. You're destroying lives in order to, you know, to feed your family, then at that point, in my eyes, you become a taker. You're willing to hurt others for your benefit. Um, yeah, it's a complicated question. It's a complicated question. I think it all depends on what the sin is. Yeah, we have to repent and not go back to sinning. Indeed, indeed. That's basically how it goes. Yeah, if you don't like my shower cap, you can leave. Community stoning in Bible and witch hunting, burnings, all historical treatments can be associated with our situation. 100%. I have a video actually on YouTube called where basically I speak of gang stalking as the new age witch Salem witch trials or witch burnings, I guess. Um, which, by the way, we were lied about. A lot of these women that they say, well, I've heard that nobody was actually burned. I've heard that that's not true. Uh, I don't know about that. But I've heard that the reason why a lot of them were actually burned is because they were widows who had inherited their husband's belongings, and the community was basically trying to take trying to take their homes, trying to take their belongings from them. And it was easy because they were women that were unprotected by their husbands. They were all alone. So you can't exactly go into her home and, unalive her, but you can drag her through the legal system and put her in jail and take her belongings. So I heard a lot of it was basically just about money, which this program is all about money as well, by the way, guys. They're basically inflating their terrorist watch list in order to funnel our tax dollars their way. So that's what's going on. It's really about money. It's all about money. The people that are convinced to do this don't see it. They don't understand why they're doing what they're doing. But yeah, um, it's really all about money. The military complex is obviously willing to sacrifice many lives to fill their pockets. 50-year-old, I hope these weirdos are not penetrating your view of self because you're very Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. You know, you're the second person to tell me that. Men don't get a lot of compliments. I'll tell you right now, you know. Um, Men don't get a lot of compliments. For some reason, you're the second person today to tell me that I'm very handsome. The first person to tell me that was flirting, by the way. Um, but I am married, so I didn't respond because I'm married. But thank you. Thank you very much. That means a lot. And no, they're not penetrating my view of self. You know, I always say if a poor person calls you poor, does that bother you? You know, if somebody comes to you and asks you for money, somebody on the street who's homeless, who's financially challenged, asks you for money and you say, sorry, I don't have it. And they go, bro, you're so poor. Would you care? You know? So, I mean, obviously you wouldn't. So when people who participate in gang stalking say things about me, even if it was like things that are like actually true, like I have, gray, I grade early for my age or something like that. I look 16 and 61 at the same time, which is like I take it as a compliment, by the way, when people say stuff like that. But even if it's like stuff that's true, it doesn't bother me. Like you are, your soul is corrupted and disgusting. Your opinion of me is infinitely worthless because if I even took the time to tell you what I think of you, perps, gang stalkers, bro, you wouldn't even tell me what you think of me. You wouldn't even talk to me. If I told you what I think you deserve, you know, you wouldn't waste your time. A third person has called me handsome today. Thank you, Inez, Ines Ferreira. Thank you very much. Reminds me of men receiving flowers only at their funerals. That's true. That's true. It is true. Yeah, the interviews I'm gonna do are gonna be on Zoom. Thanks to Deb, one of my subscribers. I promised her I'm gonna learn Zoom, so I'm learning Zoom. So my interviews will be conducted on Zoom, but I'm never gonna do lives with anybody because um, I'm liable to have someone try to sabotage my page by saying something crazy on live. Not every person who says Lord will enter heaven, but only those who do the will of God. Many will seek to enter heaven and not be able because they continue in sin. Matthew 7. Amen. Amen. Um, you know, when people ask me why I run this page, because I mean, you must understand, I don't want I've been running this page for about 5 years, and it wasn't about gang stalking. It was about narcissistic abuse because I wanted to help people that went through what I went through. I was in a narcissistic abusive relationship for 13 years, and I was raised by a narcissistic person. Um, so I suffered a lot of narcissistic abuse in my life, and I wanted to help people that are going through what I went through and make them understand that no contact not only is the way to go, but no contact is just the freedom you get when you no longer feel the need to prove to people that you deserve respect, you deserve love, you deserve to be treated with dignity. Um, you know, when you just give these things to yourself and you go, hey, if you don't have to respect me, but if you don't, you gotta go. Like you can't be in my life and also not respect me. You have to leave. The freedom, the joy that you feel once you go through the hard time of being alone or being away from these people that are loved ones is worth everything. So that's why I created this page, and I was running it for about 5 years, and then my gang stalking or organized harassment ramped all the way up, and I stopped for about a year, and then when I came back, I was just like, I gotta do it again. This is like what God is calling me to do. So I'm really, when people ask me why I do this, I always answer the same thing. It's because I want to go to heaven. It's because God gave me a task to do. And, you know, if you know you should do something and you don't do it, that's a sin. So, yeah, I'm running this page because I want to go to heaven. That's it. You think when you encounter one narc, you start bumping into them over and over like you've been marked? Hmm. I think when it comes to narcissists who bump into me, I mean, unless it's like gang stalkers, but if it's just like a run of the mill narcissist, they don't like me. Narcissists do not like me because I speak the truth. Even when it's uncomfortable, I speak the truth. Um, I call people out on their BS. I just, I'm not quiet. I'm not going to be quiet, you know? And that's what narcissists are looking for. They're looking for people with a lot of empathy and people who are willing to be empathetic to those who hurt them. My wife told me that I had too much empathy today. She said, "You have so much empathy. You wanna help the people that are gang stalking you understand that gang stalking is evil, and you want to save their souls." You know, um, but I don't have empathy for these people. I have understanding in the sense that I know that a lot of them are fooled into doing what they're doing, but nonetheless, I think they deserve suffering. I mean, they've made me suffer, but I don't think they deserve suffering because they've made me suffer. I think they deserve suffering because even even though even though you've been fooled, there's a difference between being fooled into, you know, doing something that you shouldn't do and being fooled into hurting someone, into ruining someone's life, you know? And I think that a lot of them don't realize the magnitude of what they're doing, but that doesn't absolve you. I think they deserve suffering. Not by me. I'm merciful. But I think they deserve suffering. Iran is falling. The lion has returned. Cuba is next. No more oil. Sorry. Okay. Sure. Spoke on Ella Free. YouTube before. Where is she now? Who's Ella Free? Who's Ella Free? Oh. Oh. Well, that's interesting. Ella Free. I found a video of her, but it's not from her page. It's somebody who re-uploaded it, so I guess she's off the internet. I don't know. That's one of the most convicting verses to you just said, brother. God bless. Once you spot them, you become their target. I think when it comes to dealing with narcissists, it's not about. Of course, it's about learning about narcissism, narcissistic abuse, how to recognize them, but it's also about having boundaries. If you have strong boundaries, a narcissist has no use for you. And if you're not useful to a narcissist, they will immediately ignore you. They'll turn away from you because you're not useful. Because narcissists view people as objects and they view people as objects to be used. If you are not useful to them, if you say things like, no, I don't want to, I disagree, I don't want to do that. If you tell them stuff like that, you will see their true character. They'll show you because these are not people that see you as anything but an extension of themselves. So once the extension of themselves is no longer doing their bidding, they rid themselves of you. They shelf you basically. They go next. So yeah, it's really all about having boundaries. Once you work on your boundaries, like, you know, I'm always looking out for narcissistic behavior, but I'm not looking out in the sense of I'm afraid this person might hurt me in the future, right? Um, I don't trust people to be or not be narcissists. I trust myself to behave properly or behave in accordance to the information that I get once I know this person is a narcissist, or just this person is not safe, this person is not respectful, this person does not have proper boundaries, I just leave. You know, Hella Free had her own channel interviewing targets. She was on Patreon. Well, I can't find her. I've never heard of her before, to tell you the truth. But then again, I had never heard of Gloria Naylor either, who seems to be a very interesting person. But yeah, I can't find her page. Uh, I see that she's is she a black woman? I see that she's a black woman as well, like Gloria Naylor. But no, I can't find her page. She's either off the internet, you know, or I mean, if you go through this, you know, for long enough, it'll make you either want to run away, leave the country, or they'll get you. I mean, I spoke to a guy who says he got poisoned, and I believe he said that it destroyed his kidneys. So, I mean, make no mistakes, this is a genocide. At the end of the day, what they want to do is unalive all of us. What would you say is a major underlying cause of narcissism? The only cause of narcissism is child abuse. That's the only way it happens. It's child abuse. The the issue here is that a lot of people are unaware of what constitutes child abuse. Spoiling a child is also child abuse. And as we know, most most of the kids who are spoiled, they grow up to be bad. When something spoils, it goes bad. When most of these kids who are spoiled, they grow up to be narcissists. So spoiling a child, child abuse creates narcissists. Narcissism is uh, narcissism is the defense mechanism response of a broken ego. That's all it is. I mean, if you have questions about narcissism, you're asking the right question. You're asking the right person. I've got answers. So if you've got questions, please ask away. I could talk about this all night. I might. I found out all about it from a coworker. I don't even know narcissism existed till I spotted her behavior over the years. Ah, the Great Awakening. The issue about narcissism is that once you're educated on it and you can see it, is you can't see it. You can't unsee it. You know? Are you a narcissist? Not at all. No, not at all. Not even a little bit. I mean, everybody's narcissistic to a certain extent, but no, I'm not a narcissist. There's a lot of narcissistic abuse recovery coaches who are actual narcissists, but I'm not one of them. I'd say kids who were spoiled are more of a think they're better than everyone, which isn't exactly the definition of being a narcissist. It's also not the definition of a narcissist. Narcissists think they're better and more important than everybody else. So, yeah, it's not the complete definition of a narcissist, but it definitely includes that. Narcissists think they're better than everybody else, whether it be a narcissist who is a covert or an overt, like a shy narcissist or a confident narcissist. Narcissists think they're better than other people. They do. They think I mean, they do and they don't, right? The narcissism, the broken ego is basically the ego telling the narcissist that they're worthless constantly. And then the narcissism is the defense mechanism that is telling them, no, you're not worthless, you're the best. No, you're not dumb, you're the smartest. No, you're not weak, you're the strongest, right? So this um this narcissism that is fighting the broken ego that is constantly putting them down is, convincing them that they can do no wrong, right? Because to admit that they made a mistake would start to confirm what the broken ego is saying, which is like a feeling that is feels so dangerous to them. They feel like they could die if they admit to a wrong, which is why, they have a hard time apologizing or meaning an apology, because it's just like you think it's like oh, you forgot to take out the garbage, just apologize and do it. But what they're hearing is when you say you forgot to take out the garbage is you're a worthless human being, you should unalive yourself, because that's what their ego is telling them. And now you're siding with their egos. So they go, whoa, 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 whoa. They get really like aggressive, violent, or really angry. And you don't understand why. But that's what's going on in their heads subconsciously. So, you know, if their experiences through life is confirming what narcissism is saying, which is you're the best, you're the greatest, right? If in life they're able to make uh, um, their reality match their fantasy. For example, they have a really nice car. They have a really they can easily deal with the opposite sex, or maybe not the opposite sex, but dating it comes easy to them, right? If they get good grades in school, if they're good at sports, if they just have like a life that is mirroring their narcissism, that is telling them you're the best, they will be grandiose. If their life is not mirroring their narcissism, they will be shy, covert narcissists. And the covert narcissists are way more dangerous than the overt narcissists. I mean, both are dangerous, make no mistakes. But the covert ones, usually they know that they're narcissists. And unlike the overt who are just running the program, the covert ones, they're like almost psychopaths. Um, yeah. So if you have more questions, feel free. This is a subject I know quite a lot about, and I explained in very, very in detail, right? I mean, I know you guys have seen my gang stalking videos, but there are so many videos on narcissism on my page. There's like 490 something videos on my page, maybe 500 by now. Um, you know, most of the videos on my page are about narcissism. It's not about gang stalking at all. I I didn't talk about gang stalking until, 3 months ago. So, yeah, I have 507 videos on my page. At least, at the very least, 450 of these videos are about narcissism. At least. Um, you want me to explain why I'm not a narcissist? Is that what you want? Mothers that tell their kids they need to be number one or be the leader at all times can create a narc. 100%. Yes, that's true. My covert narcissistic mother is my adopted mother. I feel broken and I don't know how to overcome my anxiety. Well, therapy would help for sure. And no contact. If your adoptive mother is a narcissist, then I suggest staying away from that person if they're causing you pain. Obviously, these are just suggestions. I'm not telling you what to do. But my mother's a narcissist. I don't talk to her, and I never will. You being here just gives me enough air to breathe. Feel a little bit confident, but still not react to their shit. Hey, I'm glad. I'm glad I can be here for you. Actually, on Bahamut's last video that I saw, he was crashing out a little bit, and I was trying to give him advice, like, hey, brother, take this video down. You this is you're when you react to people's abuse, you give them ammunition. Dealing with gang stalkers is like dealing with the police. Everything you say and do can and will be used against you. So, you don't interact with these people. See them for what they are. Worthless. Move on. I had a really close friend of mine who turned gang stalker on me. And for a long time, I was just waiting to see if she was going to change her mind and stop abusing me, but things got worse. And I just I unfriended her on Facebook, and she did a bunch of things to try to get a reaction out of me afterwards. And then she messaged me saying, why did you unfriend me? Is it because I did this and this and that? And I just told her, hey, you can do whatever you want. I really don't care. I unfriended you because I have a recording of you talking about how you're going to ruin my life and recruit other people to join in on you, and that's not what a friend would do. And then she just said, like, I don't know what, like, why, I don't know about that, you know, about what audio you have, but those people who were talking about you, I'm no longer talking to them. And I was just like, I don't care who you're talking to anymore. You've shown me your true color. I don't want to, we're not friends. I would never do this to you. Like, I get it. You've been fooled into joining them, but I would never do that to you. That's crazy talk. Ruining your life? What are you talking about? And at the end of the day, I know that she was just saying that to like get back in my good graces to continue abusing me. Because I had given her like more than a year to just like prove to me that she's like not in on it, but she just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse. So at some point, I was just like, you know what? I'm good. I'm all right. It's cool. I get it. You don't like me. You want to destroy my life. That's cool. But you gotta go. Like you can't be in my life if you're gonna try to destroy me. That's nutty talk. Yeah. How does some fix the broken ego? The broken ego can never be fixed. The broken ego is like it's like a tree. A tree is planted and is growing, and lightning strikes it and it splits in two. It can grow. People will grow into their broken ego, or they grow into their narcissism, never grow out of it. They never learn empathy, for example. It's very hard for spoiled children to learn empathy, obviously. But the tree that has been split in two will never become one again. It'll grow into a tree that is split. So you can't fix the broken ego. There's no cure for narcissism. There's no cure for evil. Is it even possible? No. I get what you're saying, and that raises the question, can narcissists change? No. When I found out that narcissists couldn't change, I was in a relationship with one for 13 years, a covert narcissist, actually, who had said some really crazy stuff that I never picked up on. I remember one time we were watching the series Dexter, who's a psychopath, serial serial killer, and they were making a lot of explanation of what a psychopath is. And she looked me dead in my face and said, I think I might be a psychopath. And I was like, no, 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 you're not a psychopath, but whatever. And it's just like a covert narcissist is basically a psychopath. That's basically what it is. And she recognized herself in that description that she heard in that show Dexter. And yeah. So she knew she was a covert narcissist, and covert narcissists usually know what they are. They just don't care because they don't have empathy. Like, yeah, people get hurt, so what? My needs are met. That's really all that matters. You don't want to get crushed, get out the way. Julie, be careful. They are the most dangerous. Yeah, covert narcissists are the most dangerous. Like I said, stay away from them. If you recognize someone to be one, stay away from them. Um, let's get a live Zoom call. I don't do live Zoom calls. I've learned that group stalking and narcissism is done by people from all backgrounds, and the victim are also from all backgrounds. I agree. I get a lot of people that think that make comments about, I believe I'm targeted because I'm pro-Trump. I believe I'm targeted from the Obama era. I believe I'm targeted from this, I mean, there are people targeted in Korea and Philippines and Japan and China and in different countries in Africa, Italy. I spoke to a lady in Greece on the phone once that's being targeted. They discriminate. They don't discriminate. It doesn't matter. I was getting, you know, gang stalked when during Obama's first term. I was being gang stalked. You know, I was being gang stalked before Obama's first term as well. I think it was the Bush era. Yeah, my gang stalking started in the Bush era. Like um, when he was getting out. So since then we've had Obama, Biden, Trump, Trump again. It doesn't matter where you're from, who you are. My mother has emotionally destroyed me day in and day out. I have this sense of trying to be the best feeling, and to protect what's left of my kid self, I need a sort of ego. Well, it is normal to want to hear your parents tell you things such as, I'm proud of you and I love you. Um, and it's hard to not internalize what our parents think of us. It's really hard because to a child, a parent is God. And when I was a kid, I remember I always wanted to hear my dad say, "I'm proud of you" or "I love you." And my dad is just not the kind of person to say these kind of things. I remember the first time I told my dad, "I love you," I texted him, "I love you," and then he called me asking like, "Are you okay? Like, are you, having like ideas of unaliving yourself?" And I was like, "No, dude, I just told you I love." Anyways, but that was really fun. That was a really funny day for me. But the truth is, I stopped wanting that from my father when I realized that he's just a person. He's just a person. There are a lot of things that he does and says that I don't agree of. You know, I don't need his approval. I'm an adult. I don't need his approval. And I just saw him as the human being that he is, and I love my father for the human being that he is. He's a great man, but I don't need anyone's approval, including his, to feel good about myself. I'm able to create this feeling for myself. I'm able to forgive myself for my mistakes, for my wrong decisions as well. I'm able to, admire some of the things that I do. You know, I think working on your self-esteem often it's hard if you're relying on other people to validate you. But the way that I work on my self-esteem is I find hard things to do and I do them. You know, I learned to play the guitar on my own. I opened up YouTube and I was like, I'm gonna learn. Um, you know, I just accomplished things that make me proud of me. That's it. That's how I work on my self-esteem. I hope that helps. They make your family turn against you. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I have cousins, uncles that turned against me, and it's a trip. I'm just like, are you brainwashed? We grew up together. We share a grandfather, and one of them shares two of my grandfathers because my father is his mother's brother and my mother is his father's sister. So we're technically like, you know, almost the same DNA. Anyways, I just think that's really funny. Um, you know, when I think about my family members being involved in my gang stalking, it always makes me laugh. I'm always like, really? You're a piece of shit. Um, but I don't internalize it. It's easy for me to laugh at it because I know it has nothing to do with me. Though they hate me for something I did that was reported to them, I'm just like, yeah, I said things, but you only heard it because these people are spying on me. It's an interesting feeling. At first I was like, are you people brainwashed? What's wrong with you? Why are you doing this to me? But yeah. Does that ego actually help us go through with the pain? Yeah, yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Well, it depends. If you have a broken ego, then what helps you go through with the pain is the narcissism is what helps you. But it's defective defense mechanism because it helps you when you're a kid, but if you don't grow out of it, I'm not saying that you're a narcissist, obviously, but it does help when you're a kid. But the importance is growing out of it. Narcissism is just arrested emotional development. That's it. That's why a lot of times when you deal with narcissists, you get the feeling like, am I talking to a child here? Like you look like a child, you talk like a child, you're intelligent like a child, but emotionally you're like a 5-year-old. This is crazy. Like you'll have a mother jealous of her children. I don't know if you saw that Netflix documentary where that mother was bullying her own daughter out of jealousy. I was just like, you're disgusting. Your soul is putrid. But yeah, that's what narcissism is. I don't have the money to leave. To leave your mother? How old are you? I'm sorry, that's rude. I have to live with her until I can move out. It's just awful. Um, I'm praying. I'm praying that you find the solution to your situation, and that you can move out. And when I left my ex, she was the breadwinner at the time. I mean, in my current relationship, I am the breadwinner, but when I was with my ex, she was the breadwinner. She made double what I made at the time. And it was tough because I kept telling myself, if I leave, I have all these dogs. Where am I gonna go? I can't afford, to have a place that's going to allow me to have all these dogs and stuff like that. And um, I can't afford to live alone. And it was when I broke up with her, it was right when COVID hit. It was March 2020 when I left. And yeah, I was just, what am I gonna do? I figured it out. Is what I did. I figured it out, and I pray that you do as well. Praying. Yeah, we're praying for you, Julie. Honest question: do they have any dirt on you, or was there one thing that triggered all of this? There was no. Well, do they have dirt on me? Of course, they've been spying on me 24/7 for like the past 19 years. They have dirt on me for sure. I'm not a perfect person. I haven't, done anything that would be like, you know, oh my God, yeah, you're the worst kind of, whatever. There's no Epstein going on or anything like that. Um, but yeah, sure. Do they have dirt on me? They have everything I've ever done in my life on me, right? Was there anything that triggered it? No. No, I just was on a forum, a Pitbull forum, an American Bully forum, and there was a psychopath on there who was doing it to somebody else at the time, and I didn't understand what was going on, and we just had a disagreement, and he decided to add me to the list. That's it. That's how it happened. Um, but dirt on me. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to like recruiting my family, it's really about gossip. Like me and my cousin who's like really close to me, I would gossip to him about other people in my family, which is something I don't do anymore. Gossiping, it makes me feel it always makes you feel dirty after you do it. If you have a conscience, don't do that. Don't do that. I suggest you don't do that. And I don't do that anymore, or at least I try my very best to not do that anymore. But the gossip that I um, had with one of my cousins about my other cousins got back to them, and that's why they hate me. And honestly, one of them was really bad, but you know, she did something that was really bad as well, and that's what I was talking about. But I shouldn't have. And the others is just like stuff that is like super forgivable, you know, but they don't forgive me. So, and I've apologized to all of them, but they don't accept my apology, and at this point it's just I leave it in their hands. It's up to them. I put it in God's hands in the sense that like I did my part. I've apologized for what you heard that I said through someone who's spying on me. I mean, two wrongs don't make a right here, right? But I have apologized, but they don't care, and I don't care either anymore. Glad it was revealed sooner than later. Can there be good narcissists? Narcissism is a spectrum. There are narcissists that are not so bad, but all narcissists are dangerous. But yeah, can there be good narciss? I would just say if there's a narcissist in your life, you want the relationship you have with them to be shallow. You don't want to get too deep into a relationship with a narcissist. I definitely don't recommend dating one or starting a family with one. You know, good narcissists. Not really. Not really. But narcissism is a spectrum. Some of them are really dangerous and really hurtful and violent, and some of them are just hurtful psychologically, which can be worse, but it's a spectrum. It's a spectrum. And also, you have to understand that there's a difference between a narcissist and a person with narcissistic personality disorder. A narcissist, someone that you can still reason with that person. A person that has narcissistic personality disorder is cannot be reasoned with. Thank you for your prayers. I am praying for you. I hope you figure out your situation and get away from that person. Um, I'm praying for you. I have noticed this to a certain extent. Deliverance should have given her the ice truck treatment. What? Nah, that ain't me, baby. Um, let's study the techniques. How do they get family friends to turn on you? I will start. Coercion. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the tactics that were being used by the person who added me to the list was they sort of create this clan, this group, and you know, they target people that want to be part of the group. And then in order to be part of the group, here's what you have to do to be one of the cool kids, right? So coercion, yeah, definitely coercion. There's they'll lie and say we're investigating this person, we need your help. If you can just like aggravate this person to react, we'll be able to finally arrest them, things of that nature. Payments, a lot of in Toronto, there's this guy, Maddox Cult, on IG, who gets followed. His gang stalking is mostly being followed, and his gang stalking is mostly South Asian immigrants. Um, and they don't have a lot of money. They're offered a job to just follow somebody around. They don't have to say anything to him. They don't have to do anything to him. They just follow him. So he gets followed by a lot of South Asian people. Indian, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, things of that nature. And yeah, so money is one of them. Do you remember me? I do remember you. Psalm 37 is comforting. Yes, it is. Do you, okay. I've heard. Okay, all right. You guys are doing too much. I've heard my parents fight all day. My dad says he's proud of me, but I can always sense his feeling of trying to make up for what they've done. Hmm, that's interesting. Well, I hope you have a good relationship with him. You know, I'm still 18. Oh, 18. My parents have broken my stuff, beat me, ignored me, starved me, and that definitely made me a stronger but more broken person. I do not know how to fix this sense of despair. I would say definitely therapy. You're gonna want to find a therapist who understands um, um, cluster B personality disorders because it seems like at least one of your parents might be suffering from that. So yeah, I mean, narcissistic parents will either create a narcissist or a codependent, also known as a self-love deficient person, which I think describes what you're talking about, self-love deficient, meaning you don't have sufficient self-love. Um, yeah, therapy. Self-love deficient people can be cured. Narcissists cannot. God revealed his acceptance of me as his child through Jesus. Amen. Focus on yourself, love yourself, enjoy your time. Yeah. Is that guy calling me Tyler Perry? Strike one. God is giving me grace to release the Judas in my life, the Judases in my life. Amen. God has given me discernment to recognize the Judases in my life. So Jesus is a safe place. Amen. These are probably perps, Susu. These are probably perps. So they're gone. Um, Praise the Lord. Do pray that I may get a job soon because I'm jobless for months. I'm praying for you, man. I hope you get a job soon. We're praying for you. Pray to the Spirit for you to find employment. Yeah. Therapy should be cheaper. Shit's ridiculous and everyone needs it. Well, I agree with you for sure. You know, there are many people online who have gone through the same thing you've gone through, Annie, Annie Rodpai. Sorry. There are many people who've gone through what you're going through, and they're basically sort of life coaches online. Um, I would say look up the term codependent or self-love deficient. Dr. Ross Rosenberg speaks a lot about this. When it comes to abusive parents, I would say that the person who has given me the most information is a lady. Boy, let's see if I can find. Oh, there we go. It's Lisa A. Romano. Lisa A. Romano. She's a breakthrough life coach. How to stop being codependent in relationships. There's also Dr. Ramani, who I think she's Indian like you, actually. But these are people who can give you tips how to get out of self-love deficiency. So I would strongly suggest um, Lisa A. Romano and Dr. Ramani. Yeah. I don't know if everyone was there when I read my the video I'm going to record in a few minutes. Yeah. I dated well, not date. Well, I went on 2 or 3 dates with an Indian lady once. Uh I think her last name was Ramani. No, her name was Rami. Her name was Rami. I can't remember her last name. There were a lot of J's in it. Sorry. Um, yeah, I went on a date with an Indian lady, and I think she was a therapist. She was a therapist. I went on a couple of dates with her, and she told me the same thing. She said that her parents were extremely abusive, and yeah, it seems to be very common in Indian culture. I know it's extremely common in Haitian culture for sure. You'll start like describing your mother, how she is, and every other Haitian person is like, my mother's the exact same way. And it's like when you can describe one person without knowing them, usually it's because they suffer from a personality disorder. Because the personality is disordered, therefore it can be recognized in certain patterns. Um, and yeah, if you start talking about your mother and like experiences you've had with her and things that she does, whatever, and somebody else or like other people around you are like, me too, my mother did the same. It's like, you know, a lot of people who grew up in without traumas in their lives, it's not like that. You know, they can't talk about their parents and how they were raised, and you know, everybody's like, oh yeah, my mom did the same thing. It's like that's not normal. If I can describe my mom and you hear your mom in the description, they probably suffer from the same personality disorder. And usually it's narcissistic personality disorder. Do I think it's demonic? Yes. Narcissism is demonic. It's evil. Narcissism is the scientific word for evil. Yeah. Any other questions before I leave? I'm gonna do 5 more minutes. I'm gonna try to keep this live, to 2 hours. It is a Jezebel spirit. Indeed. Indeed it is. It's Jezebel spirit. Jezebel spirit, sorry. I speak French. Jezabel. Jezebel. Jezebel spirit. Hey, thanks. Thanks for the donation. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. Um, Friend, if you had voices, could you get a girl? What? Girlfriend if you have voice? Do you mean can you get a girlfriend if you hear voices like V2K? Is that what you're asking? What's up, Ian? I'm doing great. How are you tonight? Hey, y- are you saying yes? Is that what you're? Yes. Okay. Um, I don't I don't think that there's anything you can't do, right? Um, I met my wife after um being gang stalked. I don't hear voices, but I met her after being gang stalked. She wasn't aware that I was being gang stalked. I wasn't fully convinced that I was being gang stalked. I didn't even know what gang stalking meant. I just know that some psycho on a Pitbull forum had done a lot of things to try to destroy my life, and it calmed down for a little while, and then it ramped back up. When it ramped back up, I just thought it was my ex doing it because it ramped back up when I broke up with her. So I thought it was her doing it, and then 5 years later, it just went super hard, and it was like super obvious. And at that point, I was just like, oh, okay, I see what's happening here. And I looked it up, and I found the term gang stalking. That was a year and a half ago that I found out. It had been happening for 19 years. It has been happening for 19 years, but I've only come to terms with the fact that this is real a year and a half ago. But like 10 years ago, I went to a mental institute because everybody was telling me to go because I was like, no, no, someone is like hacking me. I'm being followed by cars. Someone is hacking through, through my phone, my computer, because everywhere I go, people talk about things that I said and did the day before at home with no one around. That's like, how is that even possible? And everybody was telling me, oh, these are coincidences, or it's in your head. Go to a mental institute. So I did. And then when I went to the mental institute, they started doing it over there as well, talking about things I did or said the day before. And I was just like, this is nuts. What is going on here? And of course, after finding out about gang stalking, I found out about MK Ultra, which is how gang stalking sort of started here and in North America, and or at least like it seems to be like a continuation of MK Ultra. And then I found out that MK Ultra, most of the operation actually took place in the city where I live, which is Montreal. Um, so then I was no longer confused about how it was possible for employees at a mental institute to psychologically like harass me, right? I was just like, oh, well, this makes sense. You know, these people were in on MK Ultra, you know. Um, but yeah, it's gonna be hard finding someone for sure. A lot of people say that they had honeypots sent to them to infiltrate their lives. I don't know if that was the case for me because you know it seems like a really strange idea for someone to be sent to me in my life and then also sleep with me because like I've never like dated someone for very long and not slept with them, which I really regret. I wish I'd slept with less people, honestly. But with less women, honestly. But the idea that honeypots were sent to me is just like I don't think so. Um, but it messes up with your self-confidence so much, especially when you're unaware of what's happening and they're able to make you feel shame about things you've said or done while you were at home, or make you feel like insecure. Like all these people in my chat are talking about, oh, you have gray hair. I've always had gray hair since I was like 8. Like you're graying early, or like you look like Diddy, or things like that. If these things were affecting me, it would be really hard for me to date because I would lack confidence. Um, I mean, thank God I'm like not like overly confident, but I'm very like aware that I can be charming, I know how to talk to women. So when I met my wife, it was easy for me to charm her, and yeah, I mean, I just think that she's like the greatest person on earth. She's great, and it does make dating hard, but it doesn't make it impossible. So I would say don't give up on it, and you get good at what you practice. You know, you must understand that date most of dating is failing. That's what it is. It's a game. It's a numbers game. You're gonna date a bunch of people, and most of them you're not gonna match very well with, and you just leave them. Hey Harriet, how's it going? Nice to see you again. Um, Thanks. I appreciate that. But yeah, it's not impossible, man. Even if you have V2K, I know some people who get V2K, they still date, or they have girlfriends or boyfriends. It makes it tough, but it's not impossible. And I think, I think dating is worth finding a good partner, you know? Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I like it. But yeah, it's not impossible. It's just harder, but just because it's harder doesn't make it impossible. Like when they cost me my jobs and I kept losing jobs because I was gang stalked. I was workplace bullied everywhere I went. I decided I'm gonna start my own business. And I'm not gonna lie and say I wasn't like thinking of like unaliving myself because I was going through gang stalking and I didn't even know what it was. I'm just like everybody hates me everywhere I go. People are following me. They're making, my coworkers are making allusions to things I said and did the day before. It's just like, what is, I'm being spied on and I can't prove it, and everybody's calling me crazy. But eventually what happened is I just decided I'm gonna work for myself, and I became a dog trainer. And I did that. In the first month I worked, um, I made like $200. My second month I made like 300, and then my third month I made like 3,000. And that was like back in two, 2012, maybe something like that, maybe later, I don't know. But yeah, it's just it's harder, but it's not impossible, when they put hurdles in my life, I just try harder. Because what else are you gonna do? What else are you gonna do? I'm not leaving. I'm gonna try harder. And if I fail, I fail. But I'm not gonna not try because they made it harder. You know what I mean? So it's worth it. It's worth it. And I think that, you know, the the experience of being gangsta gives you discernment, and discernment is definitely going to be useful in dating. Um, um, my the greatest thing I've learned within my gang stalking experience, but also within learning about narcissistic abuse, narcissistic personality disorder, and just narcissism in general, is I learned to end relationships. When someone, I learned to stop. Um, I learned to stop. What's the word I could use here? Um, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like c'est non discutable, like I'm looking for the English word here. Some things are not negotiable. I learned to stop negotiating respect. You either respect me or you don't. And if you don't, it's fine. If you do, great. But if you don't, that's fine. You don't have to. But you also gotta go. Leave. So I've had a lot of experiences where, you know, I would say something that, someone didn't appreciate, like, no, I don't want to do that. I disagree, and narcissists are not keen to hearing things like that. I know like my narcissistic ex, if I just said I disagree, it was the end of the world, like that was like the next 2 days were gonna be rough. And I just learned to start saying things like that when I felt that way, and started revealing their true colors really fast. And I was just like, all right, well, you gotta go because I deserve respect, and I'm not willing to negotiate it with you. I'm not going to convince you that I deserve respect. You either think I do or you don't, and your actions display it to me. So yeah, good people exist. Give it a shot. I agree. Lost six-figure job a year ago. Eesh, Annette. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm really sorry to hear that. You were called by God. That is why you are targeted. Aren't we all called by God? Some people answer the call, some don't. Have things worked out? Yeah. Did things work out, Annette? Plus, animals are just cool. They're not narcissistic like people. I mean, I think animals are pretty narcissistic, but they are cool. You know, it depends what animal we're talking about, because dogs are not narcissistic. No. The dogs are super self-love deficient. They're always like, please love me. I need you to love me. I can't love myself. And cats are just like, this is my house. Everything is mine. I'm better than you. Cats are narcissistic. I'm having a hard time trusting people. I feel like I've completely shut down, that I'm not even aroused. No, that's fair. That's super fair. Um, Trusting people. I used to be fearful of trusting people as well. Um, what happened is nothing changed. I didn't start trusting people. I started trusting myself to point people to the exit in my life if they don't treat me the way that I think I deserve to be treated. Once you have self-love, once you and like I said, you get good at what you practice. Once somebody disrespects you or treats you in a way that you feel like you don't deserve, and you just kick them out of your life, you don't, you might go back and forth with them a little bit, but then you just go, no, okay, well, you disagree that I deserve respect, and I can't deal with that. It becomes really easy, guys. I'm telling you, and that's what dating is all about. Dating is about meeting people, interacting with them, and once they treat you in a way that you don't feel you deserve to be treated, you next, but you can't have room for quality people in your life if you're allowing low quality people in your life to stay. They gotta go. That's the secret. It's more easy than we think, but like I said, you just get good at what you practice. People change also. Look, it's fine to break up if you end. Yeah, exactly. It's fine to break up. Can you show us some pickpocket shoplifting techniques? What? Cats are cool. I'm not saying cats are not cool. I have friends that are narcissists. You know, they're still my friends. I wouldn't go to them with like um not my insecurities, but like my personal, private stuff. I love them for who they are. They are narcissists, and diving deep is not safe with them, and I don't. That's it. They're still people. I love people. Causes drama every day, everywhere. That's really my main concern. Yeah, well, if you're concerned about that, I think you'll be fine. We must love ourselves. A lot of people are narcissists. That's so funny when you look at these websites, or when you talk to people, get information about narcissism and things like that. Um, People will say, "Oh, narcissists only comprise about 4% of the population." Not at all. Not at all. That's not true. Narcissists are more like 50% of the population, you know, maybe 40, maybe 40, definitely over 30 when it comes to just narcissists. When it comes to people who have narcissistic personality disorder, it might be lower. But when it comes to just narcissists, we're talking like 45% of people are narcissists. I would say half and half, honestly. Mm. But that's just my opinion. Hey, for those who weren't here, you know, I shared this earlier, but I'm about to record a video later on. It's called Organized Harassment Tactics Part 7. If I get 3 people telling me to read the text that I wrote for the video I'm going to record, I'll read it to you. Just let me know if you want to hear it. I don't know if the people that heard it are still here, but like I said, the my next video is going to be called Organized Harassment Tactics Part 7. I stopped using the term gang stalking. I'm using organized harassment tactics, organized harassment instead of gang stalking because gang stalking, the word gang stalking is banned on TikTok. And honestly, the term gang stalking makes you sound like schizo um, to people. Obviously, not to me, but to people. But when you talk about organized harassment, you can't go to court and say this person gang stalked me. The court doesn't recognize the term gang stalking. They do recognize organized harassment, though. You can sue somebody for organized harassment. Um, so I got one person asking me to read. I'm gonna wait for 2 more. Do you think narcissistic personality disorder can be cured? Absolutely not. Zero. It cannot be cured. There is no cure for it at all. And narcissists do not get better; they get worse. So no, it can't be cured. I stayed in a relationship with a person who suffered from narcissistic personality disorder longer than I should have because I thought, you know, maybe she'll be like the one that can be cured. Saying it out loud makes it, I sound stupid when I say it. But I was just like, I was holding on to hope that maybe she'll be the one that's cured. Um, But yeah, what happened honestly was I started to develop self-love and I started saying things like, no, I don't feel like doing that. I disagree with you. And she became physically violent. So I broke up with her because I was just like, oh, I'm not sticking around for getting beat. Psychological abuse is fine, but you can't hit you can't hit me. I just never recognized psychological abuse as abuse because I grew up in a psychologically abusive home, so it was a normal behavior to me. But it's very hard to, be in denial about getting hit. So once she put her hands on me, I was just like, oh, I can't stick around because if she keeps hitting me, I'm gonna hit her. And you can't call the cops and be a black male living with a white female and tell them she hit me. That's not how that go. Like it's not gonna go well for you. They're gonna be like, she's gonna say, no, no, he hit me, and then they're gonna be like, well, we believe her. Come with us. I got a second person asking me to read. If I get 3, if I get another one, I'm gonna read the text from the video I'm going to record later on. Cameras up in the last Trump and Biden era. So 8 years of that, last 3 homes. They kind of just want to buy a home now for that reason. When it comes to politics, I'm like at a loss. I'm not American. I'm Canadian. I think both Biden and Trump and Obama bad, all bad. You know, Obama dropped bombs on a lot of people. Biden dropped bombs on a lot of people. And obviously, Trump. Trump is the current president, so I don't have to tell you what's going on. So none of them are good to me. I wanted Bernie. I wanted Bernie. For you, I wanted Bernie Sanders. I don't think Bernie Sanders would have. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely wrong, and Bernie Sanders was just like everybody else. But I don't think Bernie Sanders would have dropped bombs on innocent people. Maybe I'm naive. You know. Anybody else wants me to read? Well, I got 2 people. I'll just read it. Still in shock over a lot of it still, and more was meaning it happened in that frame of time. Yeah, no, I feel you. All right, guys, I'm just gonna read this text and then we'll end the live. So the next video I'm going to record for YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok is called Organized Harassment Tactics Part 7. Organized harassment, also known as gang stalking. So here it goes. Noise campaigns and street theater. When it comes to organized harassment, the goal is to wage psychological warfare against the target in order to demoralize, uh, just a second. Here we go. In order to, sorry about that. In order to demoralize, destabilize, and mentally crush them. In order to do that, noise campaigns and street theater, such as being followed, having cars parked directly behind you wherever you go, and then sitting there and idling until you get back and leave, excessive coughing or sniffling, flashing lights, high beams, tailgating, lollygagging, police, EMTs, and fire trucks turning on their sirens and lights while passing you and immediately turning them off right after, honking or making loud noises to hinder you from sleeping in your home. Some even report that when they try to rent a hotel or a motel room to escape this, or during travel or work travel, even, their harassers will go as far as to rent the room next to or above them to continue this noise campaign. Or even something, or even mentioning something about your private life. So you'll have strangers or coworkers, people in your life mentioning something about your private life in conversation with you or within earshot of you, are often utilized as a method to sensitize the target to the fact that they're being spied on and followed in order to make them feel unwelcomed, unsafe, plotted against, and also make them realize that they are being watched at all times, because these tactics could only be applied so successfully if they were under surveillance 24/7, which they are. This feeling of never being alone is distressing because it seeps into all moments of one's life. For example, going to the bathroom and doom scrolling used to be a relaxing moment, but now the idea that you are being watched in that intimate place puts a damper on any ability to relax, as you are always hyper aware that you are being watched by your enemies. This same feeling will, of course, rear its head in all intimate moments, affecting them greatly and chipping away at one's ability to appreciate intimate moments. So, what can you do against these organized harassment tactics? Because you got to defend yourself. You gotta be aware and defend yourself, right? So, to begin, it is very important to learn to not react emotionally to them. That's the most important thing that I teach everybody. Don't react to organized harassment. Don't react to narcissistic abuse. That's what they want. Everything you say everything you say and do can and will be used against you. Your reactions are their ammo, and they will use it to recruit more people against you by making you look unstable, crazy, dangerous. So, the ultimate goal is to make you crash out so that authorities can hop in and participate in your abuse through the legal system. Additionally, it will be very important to document all events of noise campaign and street theater that you can, and this is for a couple of reasons. Number one day may come when this organized crime will be a prosecutable crime. Again, one day may come where gang stalking, organized harassment will become a prosecutable crime. Now, organized harassment is prosecutable. However, it's not as easily prosecutable because the methods are hold plausible deniability, right? But one day may come where it's a widespread fact that gang stalking happens. So, because of that, you want to amass as much evidence as you can, right? Because in a court of law, what you say has very little worth compared to what you can prove. Um, with no evidence, you cannot prove anything. So amassing evidence is for the future. You want to be ready. And quick side note, I think about MK Ultra, which happened here in my city. There were thousands of victims. Within these thousands of victims, there were only 9 people in the USA who were able to get financial compensation. And in Canada, there were 77 people who were able to get financial compensation. All these tens of thousands of people who were tortured, electrocuted, drugged by these psychiatrists in mental hospitals, in prisons, in hospitals themselves. Uh, Nothing, because they have no proof, right? So it's going to be very important to keep to document everything that you're going through. If someone is keeping you up at night, if someone is harassing you, if someone is following you, document it, film it, because one day you will need that evidence. And the reason number two is because these organized tactics are very covert and they hold plausible deniability. However, with enough evidence, you can begin to display a pattern of behavior that will, at the very least, raise an eyebrow and make people think twice about calling your experience a simple coincidence or paranoia, right? And sorry, however, sorry, right. However, with enough evidence, you can begin to pattern. Okay, so number three, and this is the most important one that you really, really want to keep in mind, right? Um, yeah, that's a really good question, and I'm gonna get to that, Susu, I promise. So number three is you're not alone. Thousands, if not tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not in the million, of people are going through the exact same thing you're going through, right? Um, if one person shows up within the evidence of more than two, three, or four, five victims, right? If there's 10 people that show up and have evidence of being stalked, and the same person is showing up in the evidence of many people, right? This person is now opening themselves up to being investigated. Uh, um, which could lead to a very significant win for you, right? Because if you accuse someone of, gang stalking you and you have proof of it, but all of it has plausible deniability, that's one thing. But if many people are saying this person is stalking me, and within all these people, they can display that he's using the same methods in stalking you and in harassing you. Now this person is opening themselves up to an investigation, and it becomes way easier to prove that at the very least, that guy, maybe I'm not a targeted individual in your eyes, Mr. Your Honor, but at the very least, that guy is showing up in all of our evidence, so obviously something is going on, investigate him, right? Um, right. Then um, also, what you want to remember is that it's important to not be stupid and make sure you obey the law. Filming in a public place is always allowed, no matter what the policy might say. So if you're in a public place, if the place you're in is considered a public place, such as a government, building, something like that, you can film. You know, it might say no phones, for example, like, turn your um, ringer off, whatever. But you're allowed to film in a government building. These are public places. You pay taxes, for these buildings, so you are allowed to film. Don't mind what anyone tells you. If you're in a place that is legally public, you can film. Now, if you're in a private business, it's different, right? If you're in a private business and they tell you not to film, then I would suggest that you stop filming. Now, personally, if I'm in a private business and someone is gang stalking me, I'm filming you, right? Until somebody tells me not to. But if somebody tells me not to, I'm going to stop and I'm going to leave, right? Now, I'm not just gonna stop filming. I'm also going to leave because I don't feel safe, and you don't care enough about my safety to let me film, so I'm leaving. I don't care where I am. So, uh, filming in a private business may be prohibited, so you're going to want to obey their policies or just leave, especially if they come tell you in person. Filming while driving is also against the law. It's always legal to film while driving, so I'm legally binded to tell you that you should not do that. You should not do that. You should not film while you're driving. Okay. Lastly, make sure you keep copies of your evidence. The cloud, iCloud, any cloud can always be accessed and deleted by hackers, and your home can be invaded in your absence. If you are serious about getting justice one day, keep copies as much as you can in multiple ways and multiple places. If you're gonna be a target, make yourself a hard target. That's pretty much it. Should I add anything, guys? No, but they are doing it covertly, recruiting people to harass me everywhere. My question to you is, how can it become prosecutable when it's done by law enforcement? That's a great question. Yes, since I'm not allowing them to have access to me, my upstairs neighbor, things all day, hammers all night. I barely get any sleep. Yeah, that's pretty much a signature move of targeted individuals. However, give me just 1 second. I'm going to show you something. So it was ex-chief police. Um, and admin ousted police chief victim of psychological harassment. That's not what I'm looking for. They were accused of tracking. Yeah, it was tracking. So the there we go. South Carolina town administrator and an ex-police chief accused of illegally tracking town council members, right? Basically gang stalking them, right? They were, I believe they were accused of, well, they were definitely accused of spying on them, on spying on council members, and I believe they were also accused of hacking into their computers to track how they were spending tax dollars, right? And they got caught. This is the ex-police chief that is accused of illegally tracking town council members. So, like I said, you know, accountability, holding police officers accountable is something that doesn't happen very often. That's true. It is true. However, we're seeing in the UK now, they're trying to change the law where I believe they actually did change it, where if you're a Freemason and you're a police officer, you have to declare your status as a Freemason. Obviously, it's because they've had a lot of issues with Freemasons being corrupt. And we know why. I mean, at least, some of you know why. But yeah, it's hard to hold police officers accountable, right? But if you have, for example, your neighbor who's gang stalking you, who's participating in organized harassment against you, and there are other victims within your neighborhood who also are going through the same thing, or maybe not in your neighborhood, far away, but they're also going through the same thing being done by him when it comes to gang stalking tactics, and you both show up in court, and within your court records, you have the same name in there as an aggressor. And then a third person shows up, and then a fourth, and then a fifth, and then a 10th, after 5-6 years that this has become more widespread and people are speaking up and actually making complaints on people. And, the cops are taking it serious. Or maybe it's just a civil lawsuit, but his name keeps coming up. At that point, he's opening himself up for an investigation, and perhaps nothing will come of it. But if you don't try, nothing will come of it for sure, right? So I think it's important to remember that when it comes to MK Ultra, which was the same thing, it was torture, mind control, right? When it comes to MK Ultra, a lot of these poor people that suffered from MK Ultra, they did not receive any financial compensation because they couldn't prove it. They were electrocuted, they were drugged, How do you prove that? Can you show us the state of your brain before and after? We only see after. How can you prove you're not a drug user? We don't know that, right? Um, but if you are, for example, being hit with directed energy weapons and you get a brain scan now and then you get a brain scan later, a doctor can prove you have a concussion, right? And then you go, well, I'm not a soccer player. I'm not a football player, sorry. I'm not a pro football player. I don't get tackled. I'm an accountant. Why do I have a concussion? Why does it look like I've got CTE going on, right? Or, you know, basically if you have proof of these things that are happening to you, eventually it can come handy. But if you don't document anything, it never will. And you will become one of these thousands of people who was tortured by the state, the federal government, sorry, and can't receive anything, right? It's better to document and have proof in case it can be taken to court, in case it becomes widespread, and then lawyers start to make ads saying, "Were you one of the victims being gang stalked? Contact this number. We'll get you money," right? And then you go, "I was," and then the lawyer says, "Do you have any proof?" And then you go, "I do," and then he goes, "Oh my God, we're gonna make so much money. Come here," right? So you want to be one of these people. You don't want to be one of those persons that calls the lawyers and then the lawyer says, "Do you have any proof?" And then you say, "No, but I can explain what happened." And they're just gonna go, it's not about what you say, it's about what you can prove, right? So if a class action lawsuit is being built against a police department, for example, because some police departments are really corrupt and everybody's participating in it, that's true, right? And the lawyer decides, you know what? I'm going after that police department. It has happened before. I've seen it happen plenty of time in I believe it's in Louisiana. A whole entire police department was shut down because of corruption. All of these cops were dealing drugs, stealing from drug dealers and selling back, right? They got caught, they got busted. They were investigated, they got busted, and they were not only fired, a lot of them went to prison, you know? So I know it feels like, who's going to help me get justice when the police are involved in it? A lawyer will, if it becomes something that is widespread known around, and a lawyer goes, "Hey, we can make money with this." A lawyer will help you get justice, and perhaps you won't get a big amount of money, but if we can get them prison sentence, that would be great. If you look at the eBay situation, there were two bloggers, a husband and a wife, that had a website that would talk about the practices of eBay that were unethical. And the CEO of eBay, you can look this up. The CEO of eBay told his head of security, who was ex CIA or ex FBI, I believe both actually, ex FBI, ex CIA, to take them down because they're talking about our website's unethical practices. Take them down, right? And what did he do? He started stalking them. He started having them followed. He started having threats sent to their homes. He started sending um, corn material. Replace the C with a P here. Corn material sent to his neighbors in his own name to dirty his name with his neighbors to make him seem like a sicko. They sent a pig's head, a bloody pig's head with fake hair on it, with like a wig on it, to their house. They sent constant death threats. They sent pamphlets that said how to deal with the loss of a spouse, making them believe that one of them was going to be unalived, right? They did all of this to this couple that the only thing they did was talk about the unethical practices of eBay. And the CEO of eBay told his head of security, take them down. And he was doing just that. And then a police officer was called, and that police officer said, "I'm going to investigate it." And he was able to, from a car that was rented to follow them, he was able to look that license plate up, right? And then trace it back to the head of security of eBay and confirm it is eBay, because the couple was saying, "We think it might be eBay." And then he took that license plate, and he saw that the guy was stupid enough to rent it in his name, and they straight up traced it back to him and then investigated him. Took his computers, took his phones, took everything, and they were able to prove, yes, they have been organizing this for months, for like a year, you know. You were being gang stalked. This is the only case of gang stalking that I know of that actually they got justice, you know? I'm just saying, it might seem impossible right now, but it's not impossible. One day, this will be widespread. Just like 10 years ago, if you told me about 9/11, all your conspiracy theories about 9/11, I would tell you, you're nuts. You're crazy. What's wrong with you? But today, I believe in all of these theories, right? So it's the same thing. One day this will become widespread, and you will be the one holding a bunch of proof ready to collect, right? So that's why I think it's important to not lose hope, even though law enforcement officers are in on it. You know, uh, justice may come. Be ready. You don't want to be the one that goes, "Oh wow, they're getting justice. I wish I had." No, no, no. Film everybody. And the way that I feel about it is, if you're uncomfortable being filmed, it's really simple. Don't fucking follow me. All right? How fucking simple is that? Don't fucking follow me if you don't want to get filmed. If you follow me, if you do weird shit around me, you're getting fucking filmed. And I'm keeping that shit forever. All right. Sorry about that, guys. I hope I answered your question. A hard target, yeah. You will truly have a difficult time. Is it legal to film someone having an affair outside? If they're out in public, you can film them. It doesn't matter even if they're in their car. If you Even if they're in a private business, if you're outside filming inside, you can film whatever you can see, you can film if you're in a public place. It doesn't matter if they're not in a public place. It doesn't matter. You can film from the outside, you can always film anywhere. In a car, I don't know about in a home, it depends of the state, of course, but in a car, you can film. If they're outside in a parking lot, you can film. You're in a public place. Harassment is a pattern and practice crime. Get dash cams. Get dash cams. Yes, 100%. Get dash cams. The most you can do is make a complaint with their department, internal affairs. Absolutely. Paper trail. Paper trail. Just because they won't take your complaint seriously doesn't mean you shouldn't complain. Make a complaint. Paper trail. And stay safe. Stay safe. If you live in a state where you can own guns, get a gun. I used to be anti-gun, super anti-gun. I used to be a liberal. I used to be like a hard liberal. If you live in a state where you can own guns, get one now, today. Make it your priority. Own guns and learn how to use them. I've been recording for the last 3 years. I have cameras in my home. Great, fantastic. Send it to a bunch of different emails. All your evidence, send them to a bunch of different emails. Buy hard drives. Transfer your stuff to different hard drives. Put your hard drives in different places. As much as you can, document. That house 12, even the flatmate was behind it also. Top T, I have been hit 11 times by speeding. God damn. Jackknives, head on fatal, 17 surgeries, but the defamation of character that I have proof of 100% feels a duffel bag. I feel you. I'm glad you have proof of that. This is the only evidence I have is evidence of defamation of character. That's all I have as far as proof. When it comes to gang stalking, I've been followed, but I only started taking pictures and videos lately, so I don't have much. But defamation of character, the people that defame my character, they're screwed. I'm taking them to court. Unless they apologize. I'm a forgiving man. If you apologize, I won't take you to court. But I need that apology. Because you hurt me. You betrayed me. And you took food off my table. My daughter's three best friends work for the sheriff, all five corruption. They started the mess, had my daughter involved in researching me. Yeah, I don't started the mess. I don't doubt it for a second, Donna. I don't doubt it for a second. And family will betray you. Your parents, your children, your cousins, your brother, your sister, your uncles, your aunts, they will betray you. It's crazy. It's crazy because they're being told to betray you by the authorities. They don't know what to do, And often the authorities, they know how to play on someone's mental. They try to make him feel like, oh, you're going to be one of us. You're going to be part of the group. And it's like people want to belong. And when you entice people with this feeling of belong, when you coerce people with this feeling of belonging, it's crazy how convincing it could be. Get people to do things that they would never do. It's like you have a good kid, you send him to a school, and then next thing you know, he joined a gang and he's doing a bunch of things he shouldn't do just because he wants to belong. Not because he's a bad kid, he just wants to belong. So I don't doubt it for a second. The police are taught to always back each other up. Yeah, well, they sure do. They do that. But a lawyer doesn't care. Once a lawyer has enough evidence on you to start an investigation, you're getting investigated. They're gonna hire private detectives, people who don't know you, who don't care about your department, who don't have your back. Ex-police officers often, that are gonna start investigating you. Ex-police officers that can do some really shady stuff. So you got to be a wolf to catch a wolf. You know what I mean? The devil is in the details. Make sure the details are in front of someone who will read them. 100%. Exactly. Cops have a brotherhood and they always have each other's back. Well, if the cop doesn't know them and if he's an ex-cop, then usually he's an ex-cop for a reason. Uh, Detectives don't necessarily respect um, corrupt police officers. You know, they often work for people who are being targeted by corrupt police departments. So all the better if they're corrupt. I find bringing it to God is key. I agree. I agree. You go back and get whistleblower testimonies. That's what I did and went to the Capitol and got all cold logs at all addresses in any investigation. Yeah, that's why you got to keep evidence. Evidence. He hasn't left his home over 3 years that I've moved in here, and he's only doing it to me. And yes, the police were called. I did mention I've been recording him for 3 years now. They said they don't. Well, you keep evidence. What if you punched him? You keep evidence on that person, and maybe he's not doing it to anyone else. It doesn't matter because there's other people doing it to you. And one day, you know, this will become a prosecute. Hopefully, this will become more than likely, honestly, this will become a prosecutable crime because this is happening to too many people. You know, it's either it's going to become prosecutable or we're going to live under a complete police state where what's happening to us is happening to everybody. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth. This is happening to too many people. This crazy experience I'm going through, I shouldn't be in, I shouldn't be online talking about it and, 37,000 people watch my video and, you know, 400 people leave comments saying me too. That shouldn't happen. I shouldn't be able to find someone who lives within 30 minutes of me who says they're going through the same thing. They have V2K, they're being hit with DW. This is happening to too many people. So one of two things is going to happen. Everybody's going to start experiencing it eventually, or this will become illegal and prosecutable. A mass proof. What if you punch them? You go to jail. You go to jail. And they'll laugh because that's what they want. Don't do that. I came from a cop family, 12 in total. They're all different versions of the same guy. It tells a certain mentality, and part of that is trusting each other to back each other up no matter what. Like I said earlier, if you can describe one person and somebody else feels like you're describing another person, it's usually because these two people suffer from the same personality disorder. And when it comes to police officers, I believe it's something like 80% of them have domestic violence cases on them. I don't want to alarm you, but 100% of domestic abusers are narcissists. 100%. And when it comes to narcissists, they seek power positions. I don't know, something like a politician, or maybe something like a cop who walks around with a 9 millimeter on his hip. That could be very attractive to a narcissist. Most police officers are narcissists. Make no mistakes. Are you a lawyer? Not even close. They expect this from everyone in their lives too. What do you mean? They expect what from everyone in their lives? Oh, to back them up? Yeah, yeah, yeah. They in their minds they can do no wrong. They can do no wrong. That's how narcissists operate. They can do no wrong, and they're thinking, like, I put my life on the line for you every day. And it's like, all right, you don't put your life on the line for me. You do it for your paycheck. That we pay, by the way. Fasting is also incredible for breakthroughs if done in faith and seeking God by the Holy Spirit and scriptures and prayers. Amen. Fasting is it's very healthy, honestly. I did a water fast for 10 days. I didn't eat anything for 10 days and I just drank water for 10 days. I never felt better. After 3 days, no hunger at all. I wasn't hungry at all, you know. Fasting is really good for you. But there's just a brain fog that leaves you completely. You think clearly. It does get very financially difficult. I've seen many people struggling with that part. Yeah, for sure. For sure. It wasn't even the first time there. The first time, I don't know if you're talking to me. Go federal law. Need RICO Act to be used. Yeah, I mean organized crime is RICO. Organized crime is RICO, and if we're able to prosecute people for it, they will get sentenced like football numbers. It's gonna be great. I can't wait. Deep bench for filing an order to fail as well. Yes, judges do get involved to separate and make it. Yeah, the judges are in on it too. Make no mistakes, they're in on it. Um, but it doesn't mean we can't we shouldn't try. We have to really. We really have to. You can't even talk about the people dancing on YouTube anymore. What are you talking about? You about to get blocked, buddy. What are you talking about? I mean, I don't think that the FBI is working on it at all because I see people from like 15 years ago talking about this. The FBI is getting flooded. I'm not saying you shouldn't contact them. As a matter of fact, I think you should do that today. Go on the FBI website or call the number and tell them what's happening to you today. But they're getting flooded with people contacting them about this. They're aware. They're behind this. The FBI is behind COINTELPRO. COINTELPRO is exactly like gang stalking. Make no mistakes. New Zealand, Australia, and I heard worldwide. Yeah, it's everywhere, man. It's everywhere. You can film on private property if you feel you are under threat and show as such. Yeah. I mean, if they tell you stop filming, you know, I would leave. But honestly, if I feel threatened, I'd still film. What are you gonna do? You know, I already feel threatened, but I don't feel threatened by gang stalkers at all because I know they're not gonna do anything. And if they do anything, like you just fell into my genjutsu because now I can do anything to you, and I can't wait. Yeah, I'm like 200 pounds. I can't wait to put them things on you, man. I'm in Illinois. I have to go to my license, get my license for that, but I can only do that through the police department. Do it anyways. You're in Illinois. You can get a gun, man. You're in Illinois. Get a gun. Do it today. Today, I want you to contact the FBI and get a gun. That's your mission for today. I send you off, my child. 17 complaints, and I just saw the guy that stole my car from 2016 on YouTube with history of being a gang stalker. He was never charged. Are you serious? What a piece of shit. Keep a diary. It's considered a legal document. It's accurate and you have them for years. Absolutely. Yep. Keep a diary. Yes. Definitely keep a diary. Um, if you can get pictures and videos, even better. But yeah, keep a diary for sure. My sister's husband and his family has joined in the gang stalking, but I'm blessed to have most of the people I cherish are believers and good-hearted people. Amen. I'm glad. I'm glad. You know, as far as my siblings, one of them has joined. I won't say who it is, but one of them has joined. A lot of my cousins have joined, but more people than I thought actually have joined. More people than I thought, but it's not everybody. But at this, in the same token, it's like I only want to hang out with my wife, and I have certain cousins that I know would never do that to me ever. I mean, they don't believe me. They don't believe me, but I know they would never do that to me. So, and when people gang stalk you, they want you to know. It's really hard not to see it because they want you to know. They want you to know and also not be able to prove it. They find it funny. Big fan, sir. Respect you. I'm 15 years old, young man, working hard every day on the right path, and trying to get rich and be a self-made millionaire. So I'm semi-famous YouTuber now. Can you advise me? Wow. I mean, I'm nowhere near a famous YouTuber. I don't know that I could give you advice besides keep working, be consistent, you know? Yeah, be consistent. Consistency is key, I guess, if what you want to attain is YouTube fame. I wish you much luck. I'd like to see your YouTube page though. What's your YouTube page? False background check on the internet, forced illegal entry went to my neighbors, their names and address all listed. Many of those neighbors later filed incident reports by the dozens. Yeah, yep. These people are corrupt. Empire is declining. It sure is. Hopefully one day. Cluster B personality disorders could be borderline or histrionic disorder, perhaps on the spectrum. Um, you know, I don't really believe in histrionic disorder or even borderline disorder. I think that borderline disorder is what narcissists call themselves when they play victim. I think borderline disorder is just covert narcissism. You know, I don't believe in borderline disorder, but hey, it is what it is. I'm not a mental health professional at all. This is just my opinion that is worth not much. Um, I think when it comes to cluster B personality disorder, it goes narcissistic personality disorder, and then at the end of that spectrum, you get antisocial personality disorder, which is psychopathy. Don't antagonize the beast. 100%. 100%. What is gang stalking and who does it? Gang stalking is organized harassment. Who does it? Everybody can be recruited. But the people behind it are secret intelligence agencies. They're the ones who are doing it and they've done it before. The CIA is behind MK Ultra and the FBI is behind COINTELPRO. These are both organized harassment campaigns, psyops. Advise these folks to use the weapon wisely. Don't show a weapon unless ready to use it. I'm not going to give you advice on how to use a weapon at all. I'm Canadian. We can't have weapons. But I will say, if you're going to get a weapon, definitely you want to take a class on how to use your weapon for sure. I know in Florida they give free classes. They give free classes on how to use a gun because they had an issue with burglars. In Canada, where I live, they say if we have an issue with burglars, so leave your car keys by the door so that if they come into your home, they can just get the keys and leave and take your car and not your life. And in Florida, they're like, we give free classes on how to shoot. So if you want, every week you can come see us and we'll show you how to shoot and you can rid us of these burglars and save tax dollars. We'll gladly come pick him up for you after. I like that approach way more. My case is extraordinary and over the edge. It is difficult for me to go anywhere in this community, and I have to be on my toes and ready at all times. No reaction is best, but with me, they go lethal. Yeah, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. These people are really relentless. But, you know, it becomes easier to not react to people when you see them as the worthless worms that they are. They don't deserve any energy from you, positive or negative. Anytime I've ever reacted to my gang stalking, I always end up regretting it. I'm like, I'm worth more than this. I'm better than this. You know, I gave my energy to this. I wish I didn't say anything. Now I just look at them and I film them. You know, like, you know, dance monkey. I just take pictures and videos. That's it. I'm not doing freedom, democracy, oil. That's a different subject, but you know, I don't talk politics, especially American politics. It's like, well, that's not true. I did talk about a little bit about it. I think all politicians are bad, anyways. So all politicians are bad. I wish you guys voted for Sanders. It's too bad. It's all it has to go harder and widen one's reach. Well, I disagree. I don't think it's a test, but I think it's the best way to view it is to view it as a test. Because really, you might be right, actually. Really, it is. It's like, are you going to give up or go harder? You know? I lost my job, I got a better one. I started getting harassed at that job, I got a better one again. I started getting harassed, I started working for myself. I started my own business, working for myself. They took that from me, I started another one. I haven't had a job in 10 years, maybe more. I mean, I'm not saying that, you know, they're not going to come after you, you know, but it definitely makes it much harder if you work for yourself to come after you. I mean, and I'm not special. I'm not special. You know, I do believe I'm a smart person, but I don't think I'm like, you know, genius level IQ, you know. My IQ is like 126. It's above average. It's like 6 points above average. I'm nothing special. I just saw it as do or die, right? It's either I figure out a way to live without having a job, working for myself, or you know, or nothing. And that's just what I did. Ghost Samurai, I would ask you to remain respectful. Do you believe Google's cybersecurity employees are beneficial to society? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what they do. I don't know who they are. I think AI will be the end of us, or at least of society as we know it, because a lot of what's happening to us is involving AI, and those who sorry about that. One second. Those who what was I going to say? Those who experience V2K and remote neural monitoring will tell you that there's definitely AI involved in that. Um, yeah. I mean, this is a great example. You know, this man was asking me a question. I was talking and I didn't see his question and I didn't get to his question yet. And then he just goes, "Are you blind? The fuck?" And then, you know, I just told him be respectful. And then he says, "Read by example and don't ignore my comment." It's like, what if I don't want to respond? What if I want to ignore your comment? I'm allowed to, you know? And I don't discuss with him, you know, about being respectful, you know? He's not respectful, he's out, he's gone. That's it. Like I'm not going back and forth with nobody. I gave him a chance because he had comments that were perfectly fine. And, I didn't see him as like a troll, and I don't think he's a perp either. I just think he's impolite. That happens, but I don't deserve to be spoken to with disrespect. I didn't do anything to anybody to earn it. So if um if you decide to be disrespectful, that's on you. It has nothing to do with me, and I don't want to be a part of it. Have a good day. Thank you. I respect the focus. Thank you. Perspective is everything. Good stuff. Yeah. I mean, it's all about perspective. Like I said, it was do or die, and I decided, if it's do or die, I might as well go hard or go home because that's really all. That's really all there is, honestly. So, if you guys can start a business, I would definitely recommend it. That would be the best, honestly. If not, hey, just make sure you don't let people push you out of your job. If you're gonna make complaints, go to HR, amass evidence, you know, get these people off of you. Get these people off of you, and definitely don't react to their abuse. Let them do what they do and just amass evidence, and then eventually you go to HR and you can show a pattern of behavior, and you can just go, hey, screw screw these people. They're messing with me. You can either separate me from them or whatever. I don't care what you do, but I can't work with these people. They're a problem, and you can display it, but don't let anybody trick you out of your position. That's the whole goal. The reason why they're getting people at your job to harass you is because they want you to not have a job. The reason why they're harassing you while you're sleeping is because they don't want you to sleep. They want you stressed out so that you become more irritable and more in a situation of frustration and despair, so that you react, so that you end up in jail. That's the whole point. It's obvious you can't read and reply fast. What do you mean? Are you saying I can't read? Oh, right. Well, thanks for your understanding, Susu. I sure appreciate it. I don't know what's up with I don't know what was up with that guy. But some people are like that. Some people don't understand that, other people are people. Or other people are just as important as you. He just wrote his comment and I didn't get to him right away, and he was just like, "Hey, I matter more." So that would be narcissistic of him, wouldn't it be? Anyways, guys, I appreciate you being here with me. Um, I appreciate you taking the time to listen to what I had to say about the video I'm going to record. Hopefully, you still watch it and like, comment, let people know that you were privy to it before it came out and in live. And yeah, um, stay strong, stay safe, stay stoic, meaning don't react to people, don't react to the abuse, document it instead. And as always, you deserve grace. You deserve mercy. See you guys. God bless you.